Oh boy, I'm live. Hey, how's everybody doing? I've been rushing around.
Hello there.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm here.
You've been busy. I know you said down to the wire again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey guys,
well. Hi. How are you
Hey.
doing, Sally?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Sally's down to the wire too. She's got a project going on there.
I just got it out. I'm good.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
good for you.
I
That's
haven't had
awesome.
any. I haven't had any dinner, so I might have to cook something here while we're doing the first part here.
Okay.
Sure. Hi, Tim. Good to see you back.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey Tim, how you
I,
feeling,
We're
brother?
good. How about you?
yeah, I hope you're feeling
Uh,
good.
I'm around 70%, but I'm feeling a lot better than I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're glad you're with
It's a
us. We've
long.
missed you.
I missed you guys too. I felt really bad
Yeah.
not being as active.
Oh
Yeah.
well,
Well, you got to
we
take care
felt
of
bad
yourself
that you were
first.
sick. You need to take care of yourself first.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
haven't done a
Exactly.
good job
Welcome,
at that.
everyone. Yeah. You're learning. You have to, eh?
Yeah, you only get older once every time.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to step out for 1 second, guys, so I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. Hey guys. Oh, thanks for all the likes, guys. Tap it up. Let's get a bunch in here. Hey, Tracy's back too. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Bubba.
There we go. I'm
Hey
gonna
everyone.
share some.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tracy. I forgot to get the link. I had to go get the link.
I just shared it to about 15 people too.
Awesome. I don't have 15 people.
You've got like 10,000 followers. What are you talking about? You don't have 15 people. Yes, you do.
Okay.
I have like 2
Yeah.
followers and you
I
have
but
like
I've already
10,000.
but I've already shared. I suppose I already sent them the post, but I could send the link to them right now. So,
Hmm.
and I'll do that.
People may be getting tired of my long-windedness. I don't know.
No, 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 no.
No way. No way.
No.
Did anybody see Shannon come in yet? He looks like he's on here.
I saw him a minute ago.
Okay, good.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
I'm just kind of going, whew. I made it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
I'm
was down
sure.
to the
For
wire.
sure.
I got too involved in y'all know how I am when I start looking at something.
Yep,
I
which is
got too
good.
too involved with the tail end of it.
I understand.
Okay, I'm sending to a whole bunch of people, guys.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, Mark's here. That's great. Hey, Mark.
So did are we going to make it through Revelation 2 tonight?
I hope so. I hope we get to where we can move on to the next chapter next time.
Or have you finished your work on chapter 2, I guess was my question.
Yeah, I just finished it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's done all the way down to the last verse. I didn't translate the last verse because it looked correct, but it's. I mean, I've looked at it. I'm hung up on that
Okay,
star
I have.
thing. We have all these morning stars in the Bible, and not a single one of them in Greek is the same word.
Really?
They're all different words. Yep.
Don't they all point to Lucifer?
I think so.
That's what I thought.
I'm just giving it a minute and see who all shows up.
This weekend, I'm going to go back and watch the series on Revelation because when I rewatch it, I'm typically working at the same time, so I'm not capturing all of it again when I'm rewatching it. So I want to watch it again while I can really concentrate on it. Hey,
Yeah, hi
Shannon.
Shannon.
Hello.
Wait,
I've been doing the same
Is
thing.
Marie here?
rewatching
Sorry.
Shannon? Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I've been rewatching the Revelation videos and getting familiar with everything that was presented.
You pick up more when you go back through and watch it again, don't you? When you watch it a second time, you pick up more.
Yeah, and it's a little easier now that I'm settled, a little bit settled, and no distractions,
That's great.
so I can pay attention better. But man, what a
awesome.
mind bender Revelation is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's big time.
I'm sure it will be tonight too.
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and mute.
Anybody seen Marie yet? Okay.
She's not been
Anybody
feeling
seen
well,
Maria?
so I don't know if she'll make it tonight or not.
Yeah,
Tim,
I hope so.
are you feeling better now?
I'm feeling a lot better than than where I started, but I'm still getting there.
Good. Was it
Yes.
a flu bug or food bug, or what
I
was
think
it?
it's gallbladders. I have a lot of the symptoms for a gallbladder. Every time I go to the ER, they cannot identify what's wrong. They always send me home with like, "Hey, you're fine. Blood work looks good. Urine sample looks good." So
That sounds like me for 6 years. That's how I was for 6 years.
Tell them you're
Yeah.
hurting in
Before
your right upper quadrant, and you think maybe it might be your gallbladder, and see if they'll do an ultrasound.
oh well, it's the left.
But it doesn't
Um,
always show though. I was 6 years getting all kinds of tests, but the only time it showed up was when I was literally in the hospital having a gallbladder attack.
It won't
Yeah,
show
and
good
then
on the
show up.
CT, but it'll show on the ultrasound. That's weird, but
what about if it's on
Yeah.
my left side?
on your left side,
Yeah,
that would be more like pancreas or
that's what I'm afraid of. Yeah,
mhm,
'cause that's where I feel it.
or spleen.
You-
Potatoes.
Spleen
It could be
can
spleen as
cause
well,
pain
yeah.
on that side too. Enlarged spleen.
You might have to get it checked out, Tim, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Are you
Can
in
you-
pain
Just to be
with it, Tim? Do you have pain?
Right
Yeah.
now, no.
But you did?
I was sleeping earlier, and I got woken up one time, well, twice, in pain. But
But
usually
Tim,
it's like
did you
every
not tell
hour.
me that it was going up over your shoulders as well? Because that's gallbladder.
Well, so what I was saying was that my shoulders, like I always feel like I have a pinched nerve. This been happening since I was a server for like 6 years, and I chalked it up to me always looking up at the screen to check my order, always carrying the trays, and I always feel like I need to crack my neck, or there's like tightness in the middle of my neck, shoulder area, and
Okay.
yeah, so that's what I thought you were talking about, because I always have
Well,
like
I
a
used to get it
discomfort
up
there.
over my shoulders. It used to come right up over my shoulders. So I would feel it in my stomach, but it would come right over the back of in my back and up over my shoulders.
Yeah, so I don't think it's gallbladders now.
Yeah.
I'm, yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna have
it's
to go.
definitely something you might have to get checked out. Yeah. Be
Yeah,
on the
it's
safe
just
side.
it's annoying though, because again, they keep sending me home.
I
Like, we're
know.
not.
I know.
And you want to catch stuff before your lab works get bad, because once your lab works get bad, you're having big problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about going tonight. If it wakes me up out of my sleep tonight, I'm just gonna go.
I would, because
Well, the best time to go is when you're having an attack of some kind.
Yeah, but
Do you
then I
have to
feel like I
work?
can barely walk, and it's like hard to even.
Do you have to work
Sorry.
tonight?
Last time I went.
I'm off for the next 2 nights.
Oh, well,
Tonight
Good.
and
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's good.
hallelujah.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you take care of yourself. Have you tried fasting by any chance? Like done
I
a
did.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating for like 3 days. The only thing I had was about 20 grapes and one apple, and one banana in 3 days. I did eat an apple about 40 minutes ago. Made
Yeah.
sure y'all wouldn't hear me eating it.
Is your appetite back?
Right. I mean, right now, I want some. Now my body wants some hot food, and this is why I think I'm getting better. Because I mean, at first I was like, I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't want nothing.
That's
But
a
now
good
it's like
sign.
I'm starving.
If you're,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're craving some like a healthy meal with a warm food, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just like it was just a stomach bug or something and just haven't fully recovered.
And
You
I
know?
was thinking that because there's a chef that comes into my job and he gives me food sometimes, and he gave me some mashed potatoes with some vegetarian gravy and stuff, and I destroyed it. And
Good.
it was soon after that, so that I started feeling pain. So maybe I did get some kind of food poisoning. You know how restaurants are.
Well,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad when you get it, so it could have been.
I hope everybody's doing
Yeah, I
good
hope you get better
tonight, though.
soon.
We're gonna motor through this rest of this. I'm gonna try to. I'll try to finish chapter 2 tonight.
It's a much better day than it was yesterday. It seems like the whole country had like rain and cold yesterday. It was kind of a gloomy day, like you said.
Yeah.
Tim, you're not craving hot flaming Cheetos, are you?
Man, listen, I've given it up. I'm not even touching it. I'm afraid of it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm 34 now. I have to watch what I'm eating.
It's a shame. Should be able to do what I want.
Growing up is awful, eh?
I can't wait till I'm a grumpy old man that can be like, hey, just give me what I want.
Yeah.
Down this time, which slide I ended on, so I didn't have to go back and look. Y'all ready to start? We got a
Ready.
few people in
Yes.
here. Okay, we left off. We had just done Revelation 2:16, so we're in 2:17 now. And what they have in the English is, "He hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit hath said unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receives it." Okay. Basically, when I looked at that, I said, they have ears. I heard the Spirit says to the churches, to the victorious, I give to him food from the manna of the hidden, and also I give to him a pebble for divination, which I thought was interesting. A white lichen or bright shining stone, because it's when you look at the actual word for white, it's like a shining type of stone. Also upon the pebble, a new name written down, that no one knows, if not he that receives it. And so that's pretty similar to what they had, really. I don't see a whole lot of difference. Oh, man, did I skip a verse? No, I didn't. Okay. Whew. The left side was way off from where I'm at. Okay. I was like, what happened there? I don't know why it did that. There's a lot to this. 14. Okay, we went through that. We went through that. We went through that. 16. And we went through that. And 17. There we go. All right. In verse 18, and this is the English, and unto the angel of the church in Thyatira write these things, saith the Son of God, who hath his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet which are like fine brass. And when I looked at that, it was like I got pretty much the same as they did too. It's like, and to the angel of the in Thyatira, which means odor or affliction, which I thought odor of affliction. The church, write these things, says the son of Theon, because I like to call it Theon or Theos or whatever it is, because I think there may be more to these names than what we think, like the Theon, Theos. When I researched them, I came up with the divine. But then this Theon is like the God, or like the top name to me when I'm reading this stuff. Having the eyes his of the flames of fire, and the feet of his are like copper or brass. So you're looking at a Jesus that's just like some kind of something from hell itself. I mean, our eyes flaming, brass legs, white hair. It's not anything like what we're used to picturing. Then I get this weird thing here in 19. In English, we have, I know thy works in charity and service and faith, and thy patience and thy works, and the last more than the first, which to me was kind of weird, But then when I looked at the each word individually, it says, I know your work. And I got to thinking about that. I said, I wonder if there's anything to tie with all this AI stuff I found before with the word TA, because I wasn't used to seeing that word before the word works. So I just quickly put TA and AI, and up pops this stuff. Based on the research, TA and AI refers to an integration of artificial intelligence with the talent acquisition processes. In other words, what they do, they take whatever you're good at and line you up with that job or that work that you do. And I was like, that's weird. And then I kept going, and the love and the draconian and the conviction of truth of anything or belief, and the patience of yours, and then that word again, TA works, of yours, and the TA last days, many are of the proton, or the first. And I thought, that's weird, because that word that they used in there means the ultimate end or the accumulation of human history, often associated with an apocalyptic or catastrophic event. So that's a specific, really, the Escharata, I guess is how you pronounce it. I'm not real good with the Greek. But they used a specific word there, and I thought, that is strange. And I thought, well, is there anything to do with that draconian? I kept looking. And sure enough, Draconia, in the original church, it was a building to care for the poor, like in Rome and Naples and that area. But today, it's an organization that helps fight poverty and oppression, it says, in 25 countries. So there's actually something going on with that word, too, in the modern times. And this is what I found on Wikipedia about it. Draconia was originally an establishment built near a church building to care for the poor and the distributions of charity near Rome or Naples. And it was specifically put there to take care of the poor and the oppressed. Had deaconesses and all that stuff. Public bathhouses. And it's the constant reminder of the selflessness that Jesus taught in the Gospels. It says, like the story of the Good Samaritan. In fact, Jesus had lived, taught, and died in lowly circumstances. They thought that he would have been one of the leaders of this congregation. Okay. And when I go on here and I start looking at it, it's all about lining people up with AI into the cloud computing, into jobs that they fit into. Like applying the data, like getting all the information on people to see, like, okay, she's good at, typing and this and that and the other, so we're going to put her here, and he's good at machinery stuff, so we'll put him there. It's kind of like lining people up. And I thought, that's bizarre. Then I looked at the companies involved and check that out. You've got U.S. Drug and Food Administration, IRS, the Federal Communication Commission, Care First, um, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, um, GSA. I can't remember what that other one. That's another big military thing. It's just like some really heavy hitters involved in that. So that did kind of play into the modern. I mean, I couldn't tie it to the other words, but it's just awfully strange that you can get that to pop up so easily. It's like, because when I went, that other slide I showed you here, it's like what we do cloud computing, data and applied intelligence, discovery and information governance, digital consumer experience, and cyber solutions. They do a strategic readiness, architecture readiness, and architecture design and engineering readiness on the cloud computing. So they take all the data on everybody and decide what jobs they would be good at. So it did play into works too. Then the next thing I found was it was like the next verse is 20, and it says, "Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which called herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants, to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols." Okay. When I checked it, but I have against you few, since you allow or permit the woman Jezebel or Isabel, who called herself a prophetess, teaching, and her fallacy led them from the right way. The Emos slaves prostitute and they consume idols. Okay, I went to see if I could find anything about Emos. Well, Emos is a centralized cell group or module for slave units. It's a computer part for slave units, which I thought was weird too. So finding all kinds of weird stuff. Okay. And this means to consume can also mean to devour, metaphorically, like to devour somebody. And here's about the Emos centralized cell group module or slave unit has been updated to a new version. Let's see, it said on here somewhere what they do. Connectors for easy BMS systems, assembly, and updated software allow data transfer down to 100 minutes updated period. Each CCGM is capable of managing a minimum of 6 to 16 lithium cells, totaling about 32. Let's see. Easily be connected and prepared. Cables. They didn't really say that much about it there. But it's dedicated to batteries. It's what makes the lithium batteries work. That's the only connection I could find to that one. So I kind of blew off the modern-y stuff in those last few verses because it wasn't like heavy like it was in Matthew 24. And then we need to look at Jezebel, since this deals with Jezebel. There are two women in the Bible named Jezebel. The famous Jezebel was a notorious wife of King Ahab, the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Sidonians. She promoted worship of Baal in Israel and the murders of the servants of Yahweh, like the prophet Elijah, and Tishbite predicted Jezebel's death, that she would be eaten by dogs. When Jehu is anointed king, he has Jezebel thrown out a window. She is cared for so little that by the time people go to bury her, most of her body has been carried off by the dogs. Um, she became a symbol of evil that John the Revelator, in the verse we just read, 2:20, he describes her as a self-proclaimed prophetess who misleads the Christians who end up in a bed of sickness. John's Jezebel is either a woman of some renown alive at that time, or the Jezebel of the Old Testament has some symbolic value. So they think she could have even been alive during that time period. Um, in the ancient Israel, she was an infamous queen, is often remembered as a symbol of tyranny and deceit. Like I said, she married a King Ahab. She fervently promoted the worship of Baal, leading to moral and spiritual decline of the kingdom. Jezebel's relentless persecution of Yahweh's prophets, especially the pursuit of Elijah, underscores her evil nature. God protected him despite her attempts to destroy him, demonstrating his power and justice. Jezebel's wickedness was not confined to religious persecution. She orchestrated a false accusation and the murder of Naboth to seize the vineyard of her husband, displaying her ruthlessness, ambition, and complete disregard for justice and human life. Her actions led to widespread suffering as she manipulated and corrupted the kingdom for gain. And her downfall was prophesied, like I said, from Elijah. They pretty much gave their own opinion on that last part. But that's pretty much Jezebel in a nutshell. I love the way people throw Jezebel around to everybody. Oh, she's a Jezebel teacher. Oh, she's a Jezebel. I've been called a Jezebel just because I'm showing something nobody else shows. It's crazy. The next verse is 21, and in the English they said, I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. And I got the same thing. When they say fornication, it's would be like an illicit sexual conduct is what they're talking about. It cause it's the word pornography. It comes from, that's where we get the word for, all the magazines and stuff we have. Let's see. And the next verse they have in their English, behold, I will cast her onto a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into the great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I thought that, can you see Jesus casting somebody onto a bed for people to commit adultery with them so that he can punish them during tribulation? That just doesn't make sense with what we have on the rest of the stuff about Jesus. Now, what I got when I looked at it was, behold, I will cast her into a bed, and they committing paid adultery unto her, if not repenting out of their works, I will give them great oppression or tribulation. Did not say that he would make them sick or anything, And some of the scriptures even have in there that he would make them sick or ill. And I didn't see anything in the Greek to indicate that. It just said they would be oppressed or have tribulation. In verse 23, we've got that TA works again. And I'm going to say what they've got in the English first, though. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searches the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. So this is most of these churches, it's a work-based thing. Now, when I looked at it in Greek, I got, and her children unalive in death, and they are known everywhere, the AI assemblies, and I am the researcher of the kidneys and the mind and the heart, and give to you each by your TA works, which would be that integration of artificial, where your talent is acquisitioned. because that's what it means. It means talent acquisition, like whatever you're talented at, that's the kind of work you'll do. So the AI is actually mentioned in this one as being the assemblies or the churches, and he's saying that he's the researcher of the kidneys, the mind, and the heart, and he gives to each person depending on their talent acquisition of what kind of work they do. Interesting, huh? Okay, 24. It says, "But unto you I say, and unto the rest at Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I put upon you none other burdens." And I got essentially the same thing. I didn't get anything really different on that verse. I even checked it in AI and I didn't get anything odd coming up. But I wanted to talk about Satan because we've discussed this before. Because a lot of people say Satan just means adversary, and I don't think that's correct. Because when you look at Job chapter 1 and 2 and Zechariah chapter 1 and 2, Satan is a person. In fact, Satan stands beside Joshua in Zechariah. And Satan has the bet with Job 1 and 2. So there's something more than just, and when I looked it up, it said that there is the Satan that first appears in the Hebrews, a heavenly prosecutor, subordinate to Yahweh, who prosecutes the nation of Judah in the heavenly court and tests the loyalty of Yahweh's followers. Let's see what else. During the intertestamental period, possibly due to the influence of the Zoroastrians, the figure that Satan developed into a more malevolent entity with an abhorrent qualities, more like you see them described today. You would describe Satan today. But he seems to have been an agent for Yahweh in the Old Testament. But then the name can also mean adversary, and it said when it makes the differentiation is when they put the word "the" in front of it. Like if it's Hashatan, it's the Satan. If it's Hatan or Satan, that's an adversary. That's how they said in this article that they determined which it was. Now we know that John in Revelation says, talks about the red dragon, also known as the devil, also known as Satan. He lists it like they're all the same thing. Let's see what else. In the Satan by itself means accuser or adversary, and it's derived from the verb meaning to obstruct or oppose. And it can mean a human adversary too, like in 1 Samuel 29:4. And it's used without the definite article in about 10 times in the Old Testament. And then other places it's used with the definite article. And according to the book of Revelations, he's cast down from heaven. And I think that is 2 Samuel 22, chapter 22. I think that's Yahweh. Now this is what I get out of this verse. I think this tells us that it was Peter, because Revelation 2:24, when we read it, is, "But unto you I say, the rest of you are in Thyatira, as many as have not this teaching, such as to not come to know the deep things of Satan, as they say, I do not cast any further burden on you." Okay, that is almost the exact words that Peter says in Acts 15:28. For it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us to put not one greater burden on you than these necessary things. It's almost a repeat of that same statement. So I think that was Peter. Okay, and this was weird. It's like I wasn't sure about one word in this, but what they have in the English is, "But that which ye have, hold fast until I come." And I'm not. They don't translate that AV, or it's an AN actually in English. And I'm not sure why. And there's a not in there, and that's not translated either. So I'm not real sure on that, and I could not come up with anything for that AV. I looked and looked and looked. So there's something more being said there, I think, than what we have, but I couldn't figure it out. In 26, it says, "And he that overcometh and keepeth my works until the end, to him I will give the power over the nations." And let's see, where's that word? And that's TA works too. It's the same as that other. It's got the TA in front of works. But I thought that was interesting because this has to be Yahweh and the earthly one, the Christ one, because it says, "I give you power over the nations." And we know that, Jesus Barabbas said that this world was not his world. And the one that's from earth speaks of earthly things, and the one that's from heaven speaks of heavenly things. The one that's from heaven is above all. So this cannot be Jesus Barabbas. I didn't think it was just from the get-go, but that pretty much proves it right there. And then 27, "And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of the potter, and shall be broken into slivers, even as I received of my Father." And I found two words in this that don't make any sense. They have EILEPHA, and then they have a totally different word in the Strongs than what they've got in the word spelled out in. It's G2983 in verse 27. And I have no clue what that word is. I could not find it. I looked and looked and looked. I can't find that word anywhere. I looked at old dictionaries. That's what I spent so much time on this afternoon, because it freaked me out when that word did not match what was in the Strongs, and I can't find that word. And KO, the word before it, I have questioned if that meant what they say, because the translators, like the AIs, keep telling me that means evil. So I'm like, what is they trying to say here? But I don't know, guys. That one really stumped me. Because usually I can find a word, and I could not find that word anywhere. So there's something being said in 2 verses in this chapter that I cannot figure out exactly what it's supposed to mean. It's going to drive me nuts. Y'all know me. It's going to drive me nuts. But maybe one day I'll find it. I hope so. And 28. Oh, and the rod of iron. Jesus said in Matthew that they weren't to take any rod or staff with them when they went out. And I don't think he was about bashing with the rod of iron. The only person I know of in the New Testament that mentions having a rod is Paul. He said, "Shall I come with you with my rod of iron?" And he's the only one that mentions having a rod. But when you see pictures of James the Just, or James the Apostle, in the churches, he always has a rod of iron. I meant to put a picture in that, and I forgot to do that before I stopped tonight. But he's the one that showed with the rod. James the Just in the church pictures, in the ancient pictures. Then Paul is shown with a sword, a two-edged sword. And but in the actual text, Paul is the one that says, shall I have to come with you with my rod? So he's the one with the rod. One time that you deleted your Paul video because it had too many. Yeah, I did. It's in there, but it needs reworking. I didn't throw it away. Why is Paul a false teacher? I need to remake that. Yeah, it's because he talks counter to what Jesus says. Like, it's like he tells everybody that their body is a temple for God. Okay, and Jesus says that his body was the temple. He didn't tell us that we're the temple. It's like, I don't think any of us have taken good enough care of our bodies to be the temple for God. I just don't see that. You know. He said, Paul says that God is the God of the living and the dead, and Jesus said that God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. I mean, you can find, like, if you just think about it and you read his stuff, you can find the comparisons and you'll be going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Jesus said to heal the blind. In Acts, we have Paul blinding people. Paul admits to lying. Paul admits to stealing from the churches. Trying to think what all else. There's a bunch. Oh, Paul says everybody's going to be judged by his words. He even said the world has been crucified to him, which it probably has, in all honesty. There's some truth in his ramblings. It's like to me, he's like he slips up and he can't help but brag about things, and so he tells on himself because he's like, the world's been crucified to me, and he says too, like, when they take communion, he said, so we can always carry about the dead body of Christ. I mean, Jesus is not dead. It's like, so they're thinking they're carrying around the dead body of Christ. And they literally say that in the Catholic Church in the Mass. It's very oppressive to me. I think he's the one that started the cannibalism stuff too. But the 28, it says, and I will give him the morning star. Now, I went through and looked at this word for star, and like I was telling Sally, as she asked me, she said, don't they all lead to Satan? I think they do, or to Lucifer. And it's like, but when I looked at it, it's like, got 3 major verses in the New Testament with the morning star translated as the morning star. Then you have one in Isaiah 14:12, and none of them match the Greek. Not one single one of them have the same Greek word for the word morning. One of them has 28 has pertaining to the dawn, or the morning. Revelation 22:16 has the epitaph for Venus, and then Peter's 2 Peter 1:19 actually has phosphorus, which is Lucifer, which I find is real interesting because he's the only one that really legitimately calls Jesus Lucifer in the New Testament. And when you go look at the Latin, they translate it as Lucifer also. And then Isaiah 14:12 has Espharos, which can be the morning star or the planet Venus. So, but it's not exactly the same word, though, it's used in the others. So that's just really weird. And it's real weird. Phosphorus is used, when Peter says, he says, and we have more firm prophetic word, which well you do, heating a lamp, shining forth a dismal place, until which the day should shine through, and the morning star should arise in your hearts. And it's really weird, because that word phosphorus is actually what they make the bulk black nanoparticles out of, for making the jabs. They make a black phosphorus sheet, and that's where the nanoparticles come from that make the thing bind, particularly when they're talking about the use of the nanoparticles for cancer treatment. They make them bind to the tumors. So this phosphorus stuff is even used in that. And then phosphorus also can be Lucifer. But I thought that was interesting because he says a dark place until the day dawn and the day star, the phosphorus, arise in your hearts. Kind of scary. Oh, and I didn't write down that last verse. I'll have to pull it up on. But it's like, who has the ears, let them hear. But it looked like it was translated right, so I didn't worry with doing a card on it. Yeah, this is the last verse. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So that's a lot. There's a lot going on in all that. And I'm surprised. I love it's work-based. And I think that was part of the reason that threw me into the Hebrew roots, was there's so much work-based in Revelation. And I guess when you're early on, you're kind of nervous and scared of things. You tend to be more, I don't know, more worried about. It's like, now that I know better what Jesus was saying, I'm not so scared anymore. Like I used to be. Like, oh, I could never be good enough. You know, you get that fear, and perfect love has no fear. It's like, and Father doesn't want us to be afraid. That's my viewpoint. Now, if y'all want to see if anybody wants to talk or ask questions, or I know that was a lot to cover real quick.
Does anybody want to come up, or does anybody have questions in the comment? Actually, what's his name? Or was that? I don't know if that's a man or woman. Stefan Steindorf. So maybe it's a man. He had a couple questions that he wrote down before he left. Let me see.
Okay.
I'm going to have to leave and come back because I'm not able to like the live anymore, and I can't see the chat.
Okay, Shannon.
Yeah, he said he also believed Italy is Israel. The theory that you brought up. Wait, did you bring that up?
I did last time, I think.
But he said, question, do you think, and I don't know what he means by that, but do you think that is what is meant by your belief can move mountains? And I think he meant belief, like your belief can move mountains.
Oh yeah, I do. Your faith could move mountains. I think that it was realizing that they actually moved everything. You know.
Let me see. Also, what is the implication of the third temple? He said he don't know Ezekiel good enough.
I have 2 videos on that that are still up online. I put a note on them because they've got some law stuff in them, and wasn't real happy about that. They need reworking. But I believe that the third temple is actually the Vatican, and I think it matches exactly. So you might want to watch those 2 videos, and then if they have questions after that, then get back with me, because it's about probably 6 hours of stuff.
Also, he said everyone knows the pillar in the Vatican is a phallus symbol, but did you know the whole Vatican is built like a woman's private parts?
To me, from the aerial thing, it looks more like a keyhole, like for a skeleton key.
That's what I saw too.
Uh huh.
there's some places where it looks like a snake too. You know, like a
Yeah,
viper snake
yeah, it
inside.
does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
I don't
it.
watch.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Sally.
Tim. I was gonna say I don't watch Jonathan Kleck anymore, but he actually does have some good videos breaking down the symbolism of the Vatican. You know, when I first, came back to Father, I was watching him briefly, and I did watch his decodes on that, and it's pretty amazing on the Vatican.
I was gonna say that I know that like the whole fall was sexual, and the phalanx or the phalanxes is supposed to symbolize, a man's private parts, and even Muslims, the little stone is supposed to look like a woman's private part as well. So I do think that they built these things to look like, because I think that the whole thing looks like a woman's private part, but then the phallus symbol is inside of it to symbolize intercourse. And I think there's a verse where he's talking about the lust of your fathers, because a lot of this stuff is about lust. There's the 7 deadly sins, and I think lust is one.
Yeah, I know the consecration of the bread and the wine is symbolic of that. The cup is like a cauldron, and the bread it's like the conjoining of the two. It's that also plays into the witchcraft too. I did some pictures of that because when they show um, the cross of Christ going, the body going into the cup in their pictures, it looks like an athame going into the cup like it does for Wicca. It's the same thing. So I think there's a lot of sexual overtones in a lot of what they do.
Mm-hmm. Cat just jumped on my chair. Um, he also said, you said one time that you deleted your Paul video because it had many false teachings in it. But his question was, why is Paul a false teacher? And I think you already answered that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. I mean, there's tons. If you start doing comparisons between what he says and what Jesus said, he was misconstruing a lot of it on purpose, I think.
I'm catching up on the comments now.
His
I had to
name
stay up.
even, he says in Acts it says Paul, also known as Saul. Well, Saul and Sheol are exactly the same word in Hebrew. There's no difference. The only difference is the vowel points, and they didn't add those till like 1400 or 1600 AD. It was way later. So back in the ancient days, the name of Sheol and Saul were identical, written out in Hebrew.
I'm booting up the YouTube comments right now.
Would anybody
Let's
like to
see.
come up and have any questions that sit here tonight?
I was hoping to see Cypress come in, but he hasn't yet.
Yeah, me too.
Baby, come back.
He did say he was coming. Well, he hasn't been back, but he did message me and say that he was coming tonight. So hopefully, and Lee as well, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully.
Did you have the questions there, Tim, or did you want?
Yeah, I got them right here.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, but hey, if you want to tag team it, don't don't be afraid.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. I'm trying to find the actual question. Some of these are actually telling me to get better and stuff. Lee, Elizabeth,
Right.
SP Praying Mom. So I love you guys. Thank you. Let me see.
Yeah, you have a lot of people praying for you to get well.
I know.
I saw those
mean,
comments.
I feel good, man. That makes me feel so loved. It's crazy. I don't feel like I get the same love from my own family, my flesh and blood family.
Wow.
I think the first question there, Tim, is the anti-Jew Illuminati dwarf. I think that's
Is it
the
okay?
first one.
Yep. Sorry, I'm on a little laptop here and I suck. I don't have a mouse. I have to use my finger.
It's okay.
Anti-Jew Illuminati dwarf. He says, just sticking my head in. Anyone notice how the Pope never passes up on an opportunity to do the Baphomet hand pose? It's literally a part of the church now. So blatantly evil, it's heartbreaking. Was in it up until 8th grade. Okay, thank Jesus Christ. Oh, I got one good teacher who actually talked and taught about Jesus.
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to make you dizzy, but they were doing that puzzle thing on me again, and I can't do it with the tablet standing up. I have to put it in my lap. It's like,
Oh no.
yeah, they're trying to turn me off for some reason every night.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obvious that that person believes in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Please. Graveyard God 9.
Can we mute him?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk, it's fine, but we can't do it with all the noise in the background. You'll have to turn that off for a minute.
Mm-hmm. You're back, Shannon. That's good.
I made it.
Welcome back.
That's good.
Hey, Graveyard, how you doing?
Good. What is this about?
We're just going through and reviewing Revelation, like chapter by chapter.
All right, I'm out.
Okay.
Take care. So yeah, it's obvious that anti-Jew Illuminati dwarf is a Christ follower.
Yeah. So I hope that they go through the videos and kind of see that we're not.
Yeah, as for the Baphomet thing, I don't notice because I don't watch him. You know, I don't give him the time of day. But I'm sure he does.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know the music would get us a strike. Thanks for telling me, Tracy. Now I'll mute them quicker next time they do that.
Yeah. The next question, though, says it was from Celine Wyman, and I'm just going to read the last part of it, and it's a few nights ago, someone mentioned that they felt targeted throughout their life. I think it was in connection with 9 Narnia and her experiences as well. In my own experience, I can see the patterns of the enemy targeting me too. I believe it is part of my journey that led me to Father. It's an incredible moment when it all becomes clear. It's definitely an awakening. And then the anti-Jew Illuminati dwarf guy said the targeting is at times literal through people, but we are all undoubtedly targeted spiritually, daily, continuously, or constantly. Also, we'll pray for you and yours. And then Celine said, yeah, it's not really questioned, so I'm going to carry on.
Yeah, I found a question here, and I think I didn't even see that one. So I think we have them in different orders because I always hit from newest to So
I think that's
I
what
have one
mine
from
is.
Judith
I'm going.
Spears.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Go
ahead.
He says, "Question, artist, do you believe we will have a rapture soon, or is it not a truth? I'm so anxious to know for sure."
Well, he said that he goes to prepare a place for us, and he will come again and receive us unto him, so that where he is, we can be also. So I don't know at what point that's supposed to occur. Now, Paul's rapture is not. It's not what everybody is expecting. Paul's rapture is the Lord Yahweh coming, because he said you'll be caught up in the air with the Lord. It's got nothing to do with Jesus, I don't think. And when I did the Matthew 24 study, it shows that those will be burned up. So it's quite a different thing.
So my question to that is, do you think that? Because I know you remember us reading Revelation 14 and seeing that there's 2 times where he says, "Thrust your sickle into the earth and reap." The first time they don't tell you anything that happens. Second time it tells you that they get crushed, and the blood comes out to like a thousand stadia or something like that. But the first time they didn't really mention anything. So do you think the first one's gonna get burned up?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. I don't think that Jesus Bar Abba does either one because he came to save people. He did not. He said, "I didn't come to condemn." You know, and now they've got this whole book. Where he's coming back to condemn after he supposedly saved everybody. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's interesting, yeah. Let me see. Oh, Tracy had a comment too. It said Acts 12:25. Barnabas and Saul had taken famine relief to Antioch and had been there a year. She thinks the seven stars are the. I hope I say this right. Pleiades.
Yeah, it could be. But he said there's seven. That the stars are seven angels of the seven, are messengers of the seven churches, and the lampstands of the churches. So he defines what it was though in the book itself.
Yeah. Um. I'm hope I'm not missing no questions in the. Nope. Okay.
About artist about the lampstands and the stars in the other Revelation video, and you showed a picture of those tubes,
Yeah.
vacuum tubes.
Uh huh.
That made me think of the first modern computer. They were all ran by vacuum tubes.
I know. So
And
that was my thought too.
I know they had mechanical computers before that, but the electronic one, the first one, had vacuum tubes.
Yeah, just like the TVs did.
Tim, I'm
I have.
gonna let you carry on because you're going a different direction than I am. Next time we'll make sure that we start at the same place and
Yeah.
then I can tag team you there. I just don't want to
Okay.
miss anything.
Yeah. No. You're right. I did want to mention the comment that I put on here. Where is it? I just had it. Right. Oh my goodness. I really just had it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Oh, there it is. If he meant that the male and female are in one body, because someone brought it up and it struck me to put this comment up here. But like a androgynous, I think that's what they're calling it, or something like that, or whatever.
Right.
Dang, I gotta find it again. There it is. All right. Then why did the Father tell them to be fruitful and multiply? They can't be.
Yeah, that was Judaism. I was telling y'all what they teach. They teach that it was one body, made them male and female. When they say that in Hebrew it meant that he made them into one body, both sexes.
Yeah.
I think people forget that there's two creation stories and the Father created male and female, and he wanted the normal way of everybody being, and then there's Yahweh who created the male and then took the rib and created a woman out of the same body. So there's your two, male and female in one kind of thing, But I think that's of Yahweh.
Yeah. Jeanette says, "Do you guys not believe Jesus is coming for us?" Didn't you say, artist, that he said when we pass on, we go straight from death to life?
Yeah, it's like he said when we unalive that we were going to go straight from death to life. But I think there is going to come a point when this part is going to be ending, because he said he goes to prepare a place for us, that where he is, we might be also. And he said, I will come again and receive you unto myself, you know. So that sounds to me like he's coming back.
Yeah, and like we said the last live, we said, that the two Jesuses were here together before, and there's nothing new under the sun, and everything seems to repeat itself. So,
Yeah, I'm kind
it's
of wondering
highly
if they
likely
don't
that,
both come back.
hmm
Donald, you can come up if you want. If you want to talk about, the God within uh,
he's coming.
and good. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you?
I'm doing all right.
We're good.
I found out, all right, with last couple years, right, I went through an awakening with God. One night I went to sleep. Before I went to bed, I watched about 3 minutes of Laws of Attraction. I went to bed. I woke up the next day. I felt sort of, a little bit disoriented. I wasn't sure. I felt sort of weird. I went into work. I quit my job. And God was telling me, stop and listen. And I started meditating. And when I started meditating, I found out Christ was within. And allow him to shower you with love. And he'll love you. And I mean, he'll love you like no one else ever. He'll hug your body like your soul. It's so real. I do it every chance I can. It's
Have
amazing.
you watched any of our videos previous to this?
No.
Well, we've put out a few lives about, because that's a new age sort of thing. We don't go that way. We believe in Jesus's words, and we believe there were two Jesuses. It'd be interesting for you to go and watch the videos and then come back and talk to us and tell us what you think.
I know my God's within me. There's no denying. I cannot deny that. There's no way. He loves, like God loves, like no other. There's no words that can explain it. Like it feels like he's loving every bone in my body. So
Who is it that's guiding you that you're talking about?
my higher being, my
You're,
God.
you're talking about your own self?
It's when you pray, who do you pray to? Your God, right?
So
It's the same
you pray to
difference.
yourself?
Yes, it's the same difference. You pray to your God, your higher person.
I want
You
that.
take-
So Christ. So you said Christ is within you, right?
Yes, within everybody. Everybody.
Do you know his words? Do you know his words? Like when he said that the road to heaven is narrow, the road that leads to life, but the road to destruction is
I
broad.
I really don't read the Bible
Okay.
at all. When I had this awakening, that's when I felt that I had to start meditating and feeling what God is trying to tell me. And he told me to stay still and listen. Center yourself.
Realize
Listen.
do you realize that the true creator, the true father, no one has ever heard his voice or seen his face other than Jesus?
Correct.
whoever
I haven't
you're
seen his
hearing
face
from-
either. It's
No, but you say you
feeling
heard
of-
his voice, but
it's a feeling that you get through your body. It's a feeling.
mhm.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but I wouldn't say it makes me God or anything. And
No, I'm not saying it makes me God. No, I'm saying that I'm allowing him. I'm like he's allowing me to be his messenger.
okay,
So by me speaking of this meditation, right, it's making use of how to find them, how to find your Christ, how to find
Can
your
you tell
higher
us
self.
a scripture where? Can you tell us a scripture where Jesus said that you're to go within yourself, or that he wants, that where Jesus did talk about the body and the feeling?
No, because I don't read the Bible. I just know this is a God presence. Like I've had God presence in my life before when I walked in the church. Like, yes, I used to go to church, but I didn't feel right being in there. But every time I
No, we
went
don't-
there,
we
it
don't-
felt like a God
we agree,
presence
like-
in church.
Yeah, we agree, like, about the church and stuff like that. Like, we're not really. It's none of us are like Christians. We're trying to separate ourselves from that. We're followers of Jesus Barabbas, his words, and he's the way, the truth, and the life, and that's who we follow. Did you get kicked off, or?
no, he is like in the background. Maybe he don't know that we can't hear him while he's in like doing other things on his screen. But Tracy had a good question, and I wanted to know too, because I want to know the name of the God that's within him. But I think he's gonna say Christ,
Yeah,
and
well, that's what he did. He did say Christ.
yeah. So I guess all we can really do is try to convince. Never mind, he's gone.
Okay, he's gone. Yeah.
I was gonna say all we can do is try to convince him that, show him that Christ is not who you should be trying to follow, or anyone that you want inside you.
I hope
I
that he
asked
goes
him
back and
today,
watches
I was-
the-
In chat on the group, and I asked him today. I said, this guy was talking to me, and I said, well, can you lay your life down and take it back up? Can you go raise one of your friends from the dead? Can you walk on across the ocean without falling into the ocean? It's like, I don't think these people are thinking, It's like,
I don't think that they know, like, with what he's talking about. I don't think that they know that when they're doing that and they're going within, like he specifically said, Christ is within, and I don't think what he understands is he's right. He is right, but that's not who Father is. It's not our Father that he's hearing from, and so it's like, how do you present that and share that?
Yeah, I think that one was just all we could focus on was the Christ word and show him how that's the
Right.
bad guy.
yeah,
Right.
that's the problem. They got the wrong one inside. It's like, they don't even know it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the hard part is, I think the hardest thing
Yeah.
that we try to teach people is that Christ is not our Father, and that's the grand deception, so if you're seeking Christ, you're hearing from the wrong one,
I don't
and
think it's my
that's-
imagination either. Do y'all not realize that people are dropping Jesus completely and just using the Christ
Oh,
word?
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
are. Yeah, they are.
All
I
you
mean,
hear
we
is
saw
Christ,
that in
Christ,
the-
Christ, like you said.
I think the first video or the second video that we started on Revelation, and you were playing the video of the woman speaking about the one that you were showing the popes, singing to Lucifer and how they do that on Passover. And I don't think you played probably a 15-minute video, and I don't think she said the word Jesus until the very end. She just kept saying Christ, 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 Christ. And,
Yeah, I remember that video. Yep.
yeah. And it's just so prevalent. And I think it's happening to people without them even realizing it, because, I went to church up until I found out this truth. And then, my one of my good friends here who's my hairdresser, her husband is a pastor, and that's the church that I went to. So, our friendship has changed since learning this truth and me trying to share it with her. But I did give her this information, and she listened to me the first time that we talked. We talked for about 3 hours, and I specifically was saying, Christ is not our Father. That's the deception. And she's like, well, that's okay. I don't ever use that. It's just easier to say Jesus, so I just say Jesus. But I've noticed, this was a conversation going back to like February, March, but now I notice when I go get my hair cut, she stopped saying Jesus and she just says the Christ, and it's like, I think it's happening and people don't even realize.
Yeah, they're not realizing what they're doing.
Right. But I agree. It's just that name, it just sends shivers up my spine when I hear it.
Well, I mentioned to him today that it was like he said nobody should ever claim that, and he rebuked those that did. And he said, where? It's like, 'cause, we've read right over it too for years and never realized that he didn't want to be called that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm echoing?
I was
I'm so
echoing.
sorry. No, I think I am. I'm sorry. I'll mute myself if I'm not talking.
But I realized that today. It's like we did the same thing. It's like we read right over it and didn't even see it for years, and it's like it makes me sick.
I have to admit to never really being comfortable with it my whole life, the Christ name. It's just something that never sat right with me.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. I just didn't know him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know who that is. He's some guy
I don't know, it
world
kind
tried to
of,
force me to believe in it when I was a very young person.
yeah, like I don't have absolutely any problem saying Jesus Barabbas, but I certainly did have a problem all my life with even saying the word Jesus Christ. So
There's a
there's
book.
something in that, I think.
There was a book I found. I think it was before y'all even joined Discord. But I was so excited about it because it showed the real nature of Father and how Jesus was teaching a different nature of a Father. But this is the title of the book, Unveiling the True God, the Father of Christ, by Dr. Stephen Christ. Now, Stephen means crown. Tell me that it's not a coincidence that this book come out and it's becoming popular. It's like, and on the front it's got the cross and then it has a serpent looped around it. And he's like, like, looks like he's about to devour the cross on the front. But I was like, because it's such a good book as far as what it's saying, but he uses the word Christ throughout the whole thing. I was like, this is so wild. It's like they are dropping that word, even the ones that see that Yahweh's not the Father in the Old Testament.
It's like a game of telephone, By the time you get to the end, Jesus is not even there no more. Steve Arrow. I'm gonna read this paragraph he got here. I'm now hearing they just found huge lithium reserves. Since Elon seems into everything biz-wise, seems all working for Trump's plan. Man, hold on. I gotta say that better. Hold on. Since Elon seems into everything biz-wise, seems all working for Trump's plan. I guess it even seems everything, like all is working for Trump's plan. We have learned lately with EVs how dangerous and highly combustible these batteries are. It occurred to me they will open these huge lithium mines in Wyoming and that will become the lake of fire these devils are going into. What I see is America is the real Israel, God's holy mountain. The mountain will soon be purged and cleansed of demons and non-believer criminals. All the Edomites must flee out beyond the wall into outer darkness or be consumed here. Many are dug in, refusing to leave even after Trump passes judgment and decrees on the world. Judgment Day is immediately after he takes office. Right now is 30 minutes of silence in heaven, as the world holds its breath, waiting to hear Trump's pronouncements. We are in the thick of it right now. It's bizarre to me. I'm an observer only, no dog in a fight. I have always only prayed to Father as a natural inclination, knowing there is only one God. I can't see him who made me, but I know he is not here and will never appear as a man on earth. I never thought of him that way, and I was always certain the people in religion were deceived or some sort of fake crackpots. I got the rest of it pretty good. I just didn't understand the very first line. At first, at least.
That's
You
pretty
guys
bizarre.
disagree with any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I disagree with a lot of it. Number one, he's saying that God would never appear on earth, and I think Jesus was God.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the first big one, is that, because even in the oldest manuscripts, it says only begotten Theos, not son.
Yeah.
Then
I
let's
took
see.
that as him not meaning right now, though. Like,
And for some
not
reason,
again.
everybody thinks that the U.S. needs to be punished. And it's like, it's not the people of the U.S. that are doing all the crap. It's the upper ones. It's the people in office. It has nothing to do with the real people. The real people just,
Exactly.
a lot of them are trying just to be good people. You know, and they're appalled at everything they see going on around them, just like I am. It's like, I'm going,
Yeah.
it all looks very evil and stupid, and everybody's basically calling out the evil that's on the people, but they're making every
I agree.
country in the world mad at the U.S. So therefore, it has to be our fault, you know. And we're not in control of anything. These people are selected; they're not elected, and they're all small hats, which is nobody sees that, but they are. It's like all of Trump's children married small hats. All of Biden's children married small hats. It's like you can't marry a small hat unless you are a small hat. You don't do that. It's against their rules, and it's like we're being played. You know, we're the victims. We're the slaves, basically. You know, it's like we have no say in anything. It's like they passed a law in Tennessee that weren't going to geoengineer the air no more, but they're still doing it. It's like we don't have a say, and I don't think people see that. But we're just people in the U.S. Most of them are just hardworking people, barely staying afloat. You know, and the billions we're sending over there would take care of most of the problems we got going on. But they're not going to do that. You know.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it would. I forgot how many billions they've sent the last year or so. 18 billion? So they can continue to bomb everybody and say they're just defending themselves? You know? It's like, it's messed up. It's big messed up.
I've heard the theory that this is that America is the real Israel. I've heard that before, and maybe it'll make a little bit of sense why everybody's mad at us.
We're the USA of Israel. We're not the USA. We're an annex. It's like even most of the Congress and senators are wearing dual pins with flags from both nations. A bunch of them are dual citizens in both countries. It's like, I forgot what percentage. It used to be really, really high. I don't know how many are now. I haven't counted in a long time, but there's a bunch of them that have dual citizenship in Israel and the U.S., and that to me should be a conflict of interest. You know, when you're going into a public office, you should be a citizen of that country only. To me. Now, that's just my opinion, you know. Of course, that's a worldly thing, and we really shouldn't even concern ourselves about it anyway. You know, we can't change what they're doing anyway.
Oh yeah.
But
I
I
don't even
hate
pay
that
him no mind.
I hate we're getting so hated by everybody, and we're considered to be so horrible because the average person here is just sick and tired of watching what's going on. You know.
I you guys saw how much I focus on my health, and I give that way more attention than I do politics. So that's
Yeah. Well, I'm just horrified at what I see happening over there right now. I mean, they're unaliving children and adults at a rate that's just anywhere else if that was being done, the entire world would be calling out, calling them out. But it's like it's because of who it is. They're not going to call them out, you know,
yeah.
and it's not right. And I have to be real careful what I say because I want this to be able to go up on YouTube. But it's like that's not Father's will. That's the fruits that you know that's rotten. You know?
Yeah.
But the average American has nothing to do with that.
Donald Child of Abba said, E. Calloway book in the beginning from 1966 says Florida is the Garden of Eden. I've heard that theory before as well. I don't know if anyone has read the book of Adam and Eve, and of course I don't put too much into all these books and all these, especially the extra ones. But it did mention that Adam was placed where he was outside of the garden, so he didn't smell the trees from the wind from the south or something like that. To remind him of being in the garden.
Well, I think part of Ezekiel just got fulfilled. It's like Yahweh says, my servant Joseph will take the stick of Ephraim and join it with the stick of Judah, and they'll become one in his hand. It's already happened. That's what we are. We're one in his hand at this point. Because
And also, oh,
it's
go
not
ahead. Sorry.
it's not the Joseph from way back in the Old Testament. It's a futuristic Joseph. And Ephraim has always been thought to be the people in the U.S.
The on YouTube, Eric Op F6352 has a little small paragraph here. And he wants to know our thoughts, or I'm guessing he does. Years ago, when I learned the millennial reign already happened, I wanted to know when it was and just how deep we are in Satan's little season. In a video about Saint Germain, done by probably Alexandra, she provided a list of Lucifer's incarnations throughout the ages. According to Madame Blavatsky, it's her book, The Secret Doctrines of Lucifer. So the High Priest of Atlantis, Thoth, Hermes, King Solomon, Plato, Merlin the Magician, Christopher Columbus, Sir Francis Bacon, and Saint Germain. It says in between the incarnations of Merlin and Christopher Columbus, there are exactly 1,000 years. This would put the reign of Christ between the 5th and 15th centuries. I found his incarnations of Merlin and Christopher Columbus very interesting as well, considering what they supposedly did. I'm not sure if you're aware of what they supposedly did. Well, Christopher Columbus, yeah. But I guess he's saying that's when the 1,000 years had already happened, the 1,000 years of Satan's season. But if that's the case, why is Satan being worshipped now and still out here deceiving the nations? Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you know what I'm saying. But I guess he'll say that because he's released from the pit, and those were the 1,000 years that he wasn't around. I don't know, because he was in the pit. He's going to be in the pit for 1,000 years. And then he's going to be out for how long to deceive?
He was in the pit for 1,000 years, and now that it's Satan's little season, he's out for the season and deceiving the world, as we can see already. Like, we can see he's deceiving everybody. Or trying to.
Kip says the short season is after the mill reign.
Is after the what?
The mill
Oh, the
reign.
millennial reign. Right, but the millennial reign has
millennial.
already happened, and the
Oh.
millennial reign was the Christ.
Wow.
You know, it was Jesus Christ's millennial reign. This is, we've got to remember that this story is Yahweh's story, and you know, this is Satan's little season now. So I think we're right at the end of it, actually, myself.
Scary if it's the season right now. Because then, I mean, you're right.
I think
We
this
are
is a
right.
little season.
I do too.
Oh, there's a comment to that. Lynn, you said, I used to watch probably Alexandra. If I'm not mistaken, I sent her a letter about the two Jesuses. Can't remember. I tried with so many, with large followings. I wish Alexandra would research about the two Jesuses. Baffles my brain. She seems so on point on most things, and her research is extensive. Yet she can't seem to get the cognitive dissonance out of her brain. Or is she controlled opposition? Is she 90% truth, 10% lies? Only time will tell.
Who's she talking about?
Who was that she's talking? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Who was she talking about?
It's probably Alexandra is her name, and she's got a massive following, but she's a Jesus Christ follower. And what I don't understand is that she's so smart. She's so bang on everything, except she's still, you know, if you know how to research as well as she does, and she really knows how to research, then you'd think that she would have checked into this, especially because I'm almost positive that I sent her a letter, because I used to get her videos whenever they come out. It was like subscriber to her stuff. And I'm sure when I found this truth out, I sent her, like a lot of people that I sent a letter, you know, explaining what I was doing. But with somebody that has that much knowledge and how to research, I asked, I'm sure, because I've asked many, why they don't research into the two Jesuses, and then you never hear from them. So I don't know if she's part of the controlled opposition, or she's just somebody who's just like going to close her ears to anything outside of Jesus Christ. Or because, Sally, remember the two guys that I also sent that we follow on Instagram?
I
One
think
is the
Vitus Flat Earther is one of them. And here's the thing: anybody that has any kind of platform and any kind of following, Satan is not going to allow anybody out there with a large platform to be spreading truth. So that in and of itself tells me that they know exactly what they're doing and who they're.
yeah, like at least she, you know, I would think that if she was just a legitimate, you know, person like we are, that she would have just sent me a message back and said, you know, like, yeah, I could check that out or something, you know. It's like the Demon Eraser. I sent him a letter, and you know, like he completely ignored me. And then the JC guy or the JT guy or whatever.
JT follows JC.
Yeah, they, like, I sent that to them too, and you know, you'd think they would at least say, "Oh yeah, like that's interesting. I'll check that out," or "I have checked that out," or whatever. But they never do. They never do. So
No. That this is my opinion, is that anybody that has any kind of following, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what they're teaching, and they're not going to teach the truth. You know, they were given a platform, and you know, they might give out some truth. I mean, that's the way controlled opposition works. You know, they'll give you 85-90% truth and 10% lies, and that's how they get you on the hook, you know.
or it's a matter of pride that they, you know, they love their large following, and they just
They love
can't
the
let the pride,
Large following.
you know.
You know,
Pardon? What's this?
they love their income from their large following, you
Well,
know.
yes, that too, right? That too, yeah.
So
So
yeah, they're not, you know, I mean, look at
Yeah, Tracy.
look at us that know the truth and how few followers we have. You know,
Yeah.
we're never going to get to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. You know, like some of these people
No.
have 500, 600,000 followers on TikTok, you know, so
Exactly.
Satan doesn't give anybody the world stage without having a hand in it. It just doesn't happen. He
Yeah.
won't allow it.
Yeah. And me, as far as my followers, Sally, you were mentioning today, I bought most of my followers because I thought that you had to have so many followers, and I did not want to put my, I did not want to keep redoing it, so I just put a whole bunch of them on there, and that's, you know, as far as that goes, because I don't care to have followers. I don't care to have a bunch of followers. I just want people to that are legitimately trying to find the truth, you know. So yeah, and for me, it's not about. There's no like I have no income from anything. Like and I don't want any.
No, I know you don't. But these channels who are specifically, it's their full-time job putting out content.
Yeah.
And they're
I know what you mean.
they're making an income from it, you know.
Yeah.
So I pretty much quit
Yep.
watching YouTube altogether. I really don't watch. I rewatch, you know, our lives when they're posted the next day, but I don't watch anybody too much, you know, too much.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
When I learned this truth, and this is for me, you know, people say chew the bones, you know, or chew the meat, spit out the bones. I don't even want to spit out the bones. I just don't want any more deception. I don't want to hear it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think we've had enough of the lies, and now we just want the truth.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Any more questions, Tim? Or
No, except for one that I have. Where is it? It's about Genesis 1, 2, and 3. I think the jump from Genesis 1 to 3 is smooth. You don't need the Genesis 2 account at all, and it makes more sense. And I mean, I haven't gone into
I think
deep
that's an
detail.
insertion.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's what Jesus meant by he was a liar from the beginning. I think he's trying to say that his creation account is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I agree.
if he made Adam from the dust, meaning he already has skin, how does he give him skin in Genesis 3 with the curses and turn them from spirits into humans, basically flesh, you know?
Hmm.
So
Yes, Tracy. I think they are accounts of two different species as well. You know, when you think about the two creation stories, like I personally think that man and woman were created by the Father. And then I think that Tracy's human hybrids, yeah. I think that the Nephilim, I think that anything that came from that or any kind of hybrid at all is from Yahweh.
oh, for sure. Because to be a hybrid is to be a manipulation of something that was already, you know.
Hmm.
And that's what I talk about with Yahweh all the time. He doesn't create from scratch from sound, you know.
He makes,
creates
he
with
doesn't
what's already
create.
created. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he makes from whatever is already existing material.
Yeah. I guess I could read off some of my comments that I have at least because
Sure.
you know about Yahweh slaying Leviathan. That's just another reason why I think Yahweh and the serpent might be separate. There's like 6 replies. So like SP praying mom said she noticed that when Yahweh is ruling, when Satan is released from in Revelation. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She said she noticed that Yahweh is ruling when Satan is released in Revelation to deceive in the little season. So she sees them as separate. If they are separate in Revelation, then they have probably been separate throughout the whole book. I know neither of them are our heavenly Father. Sorry, I'm getting freaking tongue tied here. And then I commented, I think they're separate throughout most except for 2 Samuel or 2 Samuel. And this is me, I think. You know what I'm saying? In Genesis 3, Yahweh curses the serpent, and that's the same serpent that Revelation 12 says is the devil and Satan, the serpent of old. Right? So also in Job, Yahweh speaks to a Satan or the Satan, whatever anyone wants to, I've said this in our group as a theory, but Yahweh is a judge, and possibly Satan is the prosecutor / accuser / deceiver. You see what I'm saying? And this is me looking at it like a courtroom. So Yahweh is the judge. You got Satan trying to prosecute someone to get them judged, and then you got Christ pretending to be our lawyer, but really he's just working with the plaintiff and the judge. And we are the defendant being accused of a crime. This works just like a courtroom today, except if you have Barabbas as your lawyer or defending you, then you actually will escape the wrath of Yahweh. I'm still working on that because there's, like you said, in 2 Samuel, it describes Yahweh as a dragon. And then there's the whole Peter being the devil. So, yeah, it's a lot. But I do think it could be 2 snakes in the garden, or, 2 serpents inside one garden. One being Yahweh, one being Satan. They did speak to each other.
Yeah, we just don't have according to Jesus, we don't have the truth because Yahweh was a liar from the beginning.
Exactly.
And from
So
the
it's just-
Genesis, it's like it's hard to sift through it because, like, it dawned on me what he meant when I realized that he said that a good tree can't produce evil fruit. So how can there be a tree of good and evil knowledge? Because
Yeah.
knowledge would be the fruit. It's like he was basically telling us, look, it's messed up.
Yeah.
What you're reading is not the truth. It's a lie. So it's hard to trust any of it to me. I kind of feel like
Yeah.
John 1:1 is the real beginning, like the real Genesis.
And that's the reason why I'm looking at the theory even outside of Genesis. Just, while you got Job, the Job account, and then especially this account. When I say also, who throws Yahweh into an earthly pit anyway? Not Father, not Barabbas. Their kingdom is not of this world, so they have no control over the keys to the jail cells here. I think Christ and Yahweh send spirits into the pit, not Father. So my point about that is basically Yahweh is throwing Satan into the pit in Revelations. So I'm seeing examples of it in everywhere, even outside of Genesis. That's what I'm looking at right now, because I know Jesus did say that he was a liar from the beginning. So I think if we only look there to to get to the bottom of it, we won't get anything solid. She oh no, that's not worth replying to. She says she's not good with words, so that's the reason why she don't talk about it. But that's cool. That's exactly what we do the comments for. I'll be a voice for you. I don't really see much of anything else that I wanted to bring up. Oh.
I wonder if anybody else would like to come up and talk tonight.
Yeah, I don't see anything else on my end either. Oh, no symbolism during prayer, right? They say close the portal and then pray. So like crossing your hands, I'm just bringing it up from what y'all brought up on the last show. Crossing your hands, crossing your arms. I feel like it's kind of like crossing your fingers. You cross your fingers because you don't mean something you're about to say, or just a thought.
I'm not sure.
What's Cap saying, Mike?
Was this what we were talking about the other night about prayer and crossing your hands and kneeling and that kind of stuff, Tim?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Was this about prayer and like crossing your hands and that kind of thing? I think I missed the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys brought. Sorry, I should have brought that up. My bad.
Yeah, I don't think that you have to cross your hands. I personally think that your hands should be more open, like more. But at the same time, I don't believe you have to do any ritual, anything. Just talk inside, in your quiet place inside. Talk to the Father. He hears you. A lot of the other
Yeah.
stuff I think are just rituals.
I always keep bringing up about how that would just look in real life. What Dad would say, no, man, I'm not going to answer that because he wasn't doing it right when he was trying to get my attention. He didn't cross his hands enough, or he didn't get on his knees and
Yeah, right.
beg me.
Exactly.
Like what?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Where did the crossing of the hands come from in the first place? Like
Yeah.
yeah. The crossing of the
You know.
arms came from the Egyptian thing, which symbolized a casket, someone laying in a casket, of
Yep.
course. It's all death worship.
yeah. Well,
And even
I'll stick
the
to just
praying to
being
the
in my
ground.
quiet place and just talking to him. He says, "Come to me as a child." Just talk to him as a father.
Yeah, I think we all need to regain our innocence back. That's the real goal.
Yeah.
I think the world has
I
always been
agree.
working on taking it away from you. If we gain our innocence
agree.
back, I think Father would listen to us more, or we would be able to, connect with Him more. You'll have a more
I
wholesome
agree.
life.
Mike Capes, Yahweh is the God of the lower heaven, Isaiah 24:21 or 21:22, Abba's daughter. Oh, he's saying that
I think he
to
tried to
Sally.
add someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he is.
Yeah. So this is our last of the chapter 2, Revelation chapter 2. And then we
Going to 3.
go into 3.
I know, right? Imagine when we finally get to like 5 and 6.
Yeah, I've got a lot of
Okay.
stuff already done
I think
on
we're
5 and 6.
do you?
And then I'm sure you're still gonna go over it again when you get there. Probably find even more.
Oh, yeah. I'll go back
Yeah,
to it again,
exactly.
too.
If we don't have a lot to discuss tonight, and if we don't have any more questions and nobody else wants to come up or anything, we could call it a little bit early because I know that someone is pushing herself through this. She's not feeling very well. Artist isn't feeling very well, so we don't have to stay on if we don't have any questions and stuff.
I'm okay, guys. I'm all right.
Let her relax. You sure? I know you push yourself.
I'm hoping maybe it's just gas pains. I ate cabbage patties today, and I'm having, like, how you can get gas and it goes up in your chest?
Okay, well, hopefully, I don't.
I'm hoping that's what it is.
Yeah, I've had that before. Yeah, it's still not fun.
I'm one of them vegans, and sometimes I overdo it on the
Is there
gassy
anyone?
stuff.
Yeah.
DD says Yahweh, as I understand, he was the devil, and that's what I was thinking too. That is what I think. Still, I'm just researching this whole because it says that Revelation calls Satan the devil. It says
Yeah,
the
it
serpent of
does.
old,
Like we said,
devil,
like we
Satan.
said the other night, though. the other night we were talking about Yahweh, the Tetragrammaton, the YHWH being, a compilation of Satan, Lucifer, the 72 fallen angels.
Yeah, and we got two
that
different
are in
accounts.
control.
Like,
So
have y'all thought about Samuel and Chronicles, where David's being asked or enticed to number the, number everybody? Well, one account says it's Yahweh, and the other one says it's Satan. So,
yeah,
And the account was the same number, right?
yeah,
Both
it was
times?
the same telling of the same thing in two
Yeah.
different books, and one of them mentions that it was Yahweh did it, and the other one said it was Satan.
Yeah, so that's a problem I got to deal with.
yeah. Yes, Tracy, many aliases for sure.
And the word for number in modern Hebrew is dose, like medication.
You said the word for number in what?
The word for, like, when he said that he enticed him to number the tribes. Well, the word for number, if you put it in modern Hebrew, means dose. Yeah, like the jab.
Dang.
Right.
Nothing new under the sun.
It's an algorithm. It's all there. It is. It's like a futuristic weird when you put it in modern Hebrew.
Yeah. And when we were talking today on Discord about, this all being a computer, big computer, and the Mandela effect and that sort of thing, I think it's with witchcraft. I think they have. It's like they do the music where they attach an incantation to it or whatever when they're doing it, and then it goes out to the masses. But the same with like all the stuff that they like just say the Bibles for example. Who's to say? Because I don't know anything really about witchcraft, but if they put an incantation or if they put something on the Bibles, and at a certain time, because they know the plan, and at a certain time, what's to say that when they say these words or whatever, that those things don't disappear, because it is like a computer. So they're doing the same thing now with the internet, where they just press a button and they sort of just wipe something out. As you've seen, artist, with some of your stuff, people have seen it with their cell phones, where all the videos of the North Carolina stuff just disappeared off of everybody's phones. It's an algorithm. It's a computer. But I think that there's some, like, not just necessarily CERN, but like a witchcraft incantation on it or something that they're doing. I don't really know. We were talking about it today, and it was an interesting conversation.
And they're using a lot of algorithms, and that's in Isaiah too. It's like that verse where it says, "Has anybody looked at the books? Has anybody counted the towers?" Well, in modern Hebrew, that says, "Anybody looked at the algorithms? Has anybody counted the megadials?" And megadial is what makes your computer go. It's your cell, your Wi-Fi.
Right.
So it's like it's all there. It's just if I had time, I could probably figure out exactly what's happening. Like it's wild. There's just not enough hours in the day. I did one verse today just to check it to the Revelation, and it took me forever because I hadn't done the Hebrew in a while. I have to keep doing it to do it quickly. Use it or lose it.
And you were down to the wire again today.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, exactly.
I did 5 verses today. That's a lot. But that TA Works was interesting that I found that right off the bat, like wham. I was like, that's weird.
I can't wait to go back and listen to that part.
And I think that that assemblies, that draconian assembly things, I think that that may be that how they're getting all this stuff to these foreign third world countries is through the helping hand, the deceitful helping hand, if you know what I mean. I mean, I can't come right out and say it on here.
All the charities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
None
You
of
know,
them
like
are-
the Clintons in Haiti and how all that stuff came down. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, yes, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
think that may be part of it.
yeah. Wow.
Or like the poor Africans that took the
Yes, Tracy. Yes,
took a
Tracy. I
bunch
see
of
what
their
you're saying
shots
there.
and then none of the women had any babies. They were all sterile. And they don't even talk about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Gates has a huge lawsuit in India. He's not even allowed in the country. Nobody ever says anything about that either. But that's you can find that
Yeah.
easy. I'm not saying anything about him that's not gone out, you know.
Right.
Man, that's crazy. I can't wait to listen to this back. But
Me too.
Same here.
I used to keep up with a lot more of what's going on in the world, but I've not had time really. I've been too busy doing this, the verses, to really go look at it. It gets depressing too to go look at the modern what's happening right now.
It does get depressing. It was like I live in North Carolina, and when the hurricane came through and all the devastation, like I have a lot of friends that live up in the mountains, and so it was like I was getting nonstop inundated with stories and stuff, and I had to stop watching, because it can bring you down. It weighs heavy in your spirit, because
I started
for sure.
crying. I was
Yeah.
listening to the old women up there talking about what they lived through when that flood come through there and how many friends they had lost and all this. They were just sitting in a circle talking, at the rescue place, and I
Yeah.
started boohooing because I knew I used to ride those roads all the time up there in Irwin and all up in that area and Elizabethton, seeing patients. When I see those pictures, I know what roads those are, and
Is
I'm
anybody
like,
watching the weather there now? Because isn't it supposed to hit again or something? Like right
there's another
like the
storm
next week or
headed toward
something, or the next few
Florida.
days, isn't it supposed to hit there again?
Supposed to hit Florida.
Yeah.
Yep,
not
another storm coming in
Oh,
the
not you.
Gulf.
Okay. Okay.
It looks like it's coming into the Gulf toward you again, Tim. You need to
yeah,
keep
like,
it.
can I get a break around here? Like,
Yeah, keep an eye on it, Tim,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
it's coming toward you. I don't know how far up the panhandle it'll go, because they hadn't really tracked it exactly where it's going to land yet, but it's already building out in the Gulf.
And
Well, they're
it's like
steering
we're
it where
past
they
hurricane-
want.
We're past what should be hurricane season typically, so that tells you a lot too.
It's a
for
level
sure.
2 already, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
Tracy.
the weather, yesterday it was 40 degrees here, and then today it was 70 degrees here. I mean, that's not normal.
I like to froze to death today. It was cold here in
Well, we were
Knoxville.
-7, and now we're 10 degrees today. So we're in Canada, where we should be
That's
colder than whoever had snow the other day.
You're 10
You know.
degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Celsius?
Celsius, which is still warm for us, right?
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I don't know what that means.
I can't remember what it is, but it's like 20 maybe or something like that.
It would be more than
Not
that.
really sure.
20 is cold.
Well, 20 is cold.
yeah, for us
Well,
it
it is
is.
cold. I mean, 10 degrees Celsius is, it's not very warm here, but it's but we're usually like ready to have snow, right?
Well, 20
like last week
degrees-
we were -7 or something.
20 degrees Fahrenheit is 10 degrees colder than freezing. So that's still 20 degrees would be cold. It must be like 50 there or something.
No.
Fahrenheit.
feels good in Florida. I can't even lie. I took a nice walk today myself.
Yeah. Are you bragging about that?
It's like I half brag and I half complain because now I don't have my car. So, so I was
Oh
forced to
yeah,
take
how
that
is
walk.
that anyway?
I mean,
How is your car?
oh no, I need a new engine, new transmission.
Oh no.
Yep.
You
So
need a new
I
car by
don't
the
have a
sounds of it.
car. Yeah.
Aw.
Basically, I don't have a car. Yeah, it's okay. I'll get one
Yes.
eventually, but I'm not in a rush this time. I'm just gonna relax and you know
Yeah.
and just wait it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I Googled it. 10 degrees Celsius is 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
It is okay. Okay.
That was a
But
good guess.
that's pretty warm really for us right now, you know? Like like I said last week or it hasn't even been that long ago. It was like -7, so or it goes one day cold, one day warm.
I get it. There was 40 degrees from yesterday.
Isn't that how you get sick?
You probably
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Oh, for sure. That's not even a doubt in my mind.
We're gonna make it hot today, but then tomorrow we're gonna make it cold.
Yeah.
And then back to hot. Mess up their whole immune system. Then we're gonna spray their food. No, I'm just kidding.
You're on the same line of thinking. Oh, they sprayed us like crazy today. We have like a massive moon here tonight, and they were spraying all around the moon. Like you could see the streaks going into the moon. It's like crazy, crazy.
One day somebody gonna spray them. He just said, "Do to others as you want done to you." So maybe it'll get to happen to them. Let me see. Mike said they will start blocking the sun in the winter. We'll see the sun 2 times a week in Toronto.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's horrible.
Yeah, not far from here.
Tennessee's always been real
It is
gloomy
horrible.
in the winter though. It's always like wet and cold. We'll either have snow or rain constantly. And then it's like when spring comes, it always just pops with all the green and it's so pretty then. You know.
Kip said diseases are spread by MSM. What's that? What's MSM, Kip?
News, I think, is
Mainstream
what he's.
media.
Yeah, I think is
Oh,
what he's talking
man.
about is the news.
I'm supposed to be hip to this stuff. My goodness.
Yeah. Even I knew that, Tim. And I'm
Dang.
really bad at those short forms.
I'm embarrassed.
Some of it's real though, Kip.
I feel young.
Because when one of your kids gets sick, it's like all of them will get the throwing up. It's like it never hits just one in the family, or somebody starts sneezing, then the next thing you know, the other person's. So there's some realness to it. It's just they've made everybody so afraid now that it's crazy. It's like fear motivates people.
Well, I do think that they're spraying stuff too, though. Yeah, I do
Now
think they're
they could
spraying
be.
with like,
They could be.
whether it's bacteria or whatever,
I saw somebody driving yesterday in their car with the windows up by themselves with a mask on, and I was
I
like,
see that all the time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
sad.
I mean, I hadn't seen it since like 2021, like 2022. I hadn't seen it in a minute, but gosh,
Even
People
then, what
walk
good does it do to be
walk
by
around the
yourself
house, they'll have
driving with the
masks
mask?
on, just walking by themselves,
I never wore a mask. I never complied ever anywhere.
I did once, and then I lost one of my main doctors by refusing to put a mask on. But I was standing there. I had to go to this big complex, and it was like a doctor's complex for my neurologist. And she had been fine with me not wearing one. All of a sudden, they had a fit when I come in there without one. And I was looking around all the old people on oxygen and stuff wearing a mask, and I thought, dude, are they nuts? They can't breathe anyway. Why have they got a mask slapped on them? And I just refused, and they had the police escort me to my car. It was wild. She refused to ever see me again. I had to find another neurologist.
I'll be right back. I got somebody at the
Wow.
door. Hold on.
And you
Yeah,
too,
I
it's
know,
like walking in the belly of the
there's
beast.
some doctors here. Mhm. If you didn't comply, there was some here that would just like kick you out and say, go find another doctor or whatever.
I remember the one time, I thought it was a funny story. I had to go to Target and I went, it was like in the evening. So, cause they were open to 11 at the time. And I probably went at like 9 o'clock and I just like, they had a big mask or a big sign on the door that said face mask required, and I just walked through without one and I kept walking and there was a guy leaving and I literally grabbed the cart, and I'm like, I'll take that. And the kid that was standing at the front door came like, he was like frantic chasing me down. Ma'am, that cart hasn't been sanitized yet.
Oh gosh.
And I like turned around and I'm like, it's okay, really. It's so okay. And I just kept on going. I never put a mask on. And I didn't usually, there were a few times I got major flack about it, but most of the time nobody said anything.
Hey, Stephen, how you doing?
Yeah. Um, do you remember what animal lays down with the lamb in the Bible?
I know what you talking about, the Mandela thing that everybody says happens with that verse.
Yeah, I was just, if you remember what animal lays down with the lamb.
The lion.
Yeah, I think it was a lion.
Yeah, do you know every Bible is saying the wolf now?
I've noticed that too, and there were so many little artworks and little knickknacks you could buy, even that had that verse on them. It's crazy.
What scripture is that? Which
Isa-
scripture is that? Just so that I can check.
Isaiah 11:6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just gonna check it.
Do you know the Lord's Prayer by heart?
Yeah, that's the Yahweh's prayer, you mean?
Yeah. Well, do you remember the Lord's Prayer in the King James Version?
I know the Lord's Prayer. What are you referring to?
Well, it's been supernaturally rewritten too.
To what?
My gosh, this is crazy. It is. It does say that.
What was changed in the Lord's Prayer? It's
Can-
Yahweh's prayer. Because
Can-
the
can-
Lord's Prayer is not to our Father.
No, can somebody go to Matthew 6, verse 9 in the King James? And let me show you where it's been supernaturally rewritten.
Okay, just a sec. What was the scripture again, Matthew?
Matthew 6, 9 in the King James.
Yeah, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Can I stop you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was our Father who art in heaven. But now it's been supernaturally changed to which?
That's true.
Do you see that?
It did used to say that. Yeah. But even what you said about the wolf has changed, because I know that it wasn't the wolf.
No, it was the lion shall lay down with the lamb.
Exactly. And it
But
says wolf
most
now.
people, That's
creepy,
say
man.
it's always been the wolf. No, you're a
No, it
liar.
hasn't.
It was the lion
It has
shall
not
lay down
always.
with the lamb. But now it's been supernaturally changed to the wolf will dwell with the lamb. Okay, who was reading the King James or the Lord's Prayer?
The host was.
That was me.
Okay. Can you? I'm sorry. Can I just stop you? Insert. Because I have to show where it's been supernaturally altered. Okay. Which art in heaven?
Yeah, I'm online, so it could be changed easy on here.
No.
I'd have
Yeah,
to look in the Bible.
No, what's online
Okay, what's
is
the
what
scripture again? What's the scripture?
Matthew 6, 9 in the King James.
It says, Our Father
Okay,
which
I'm gonna
art
do
in
that.
heaven now online.
Yeah. It was who art in heaven. But the King James is now saying which.
Mine says who?
Are you reading
Well,
the King James?
no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
What is
that's the
your-
one you're saying is the only one that's altered, the King James one?
No, I'm saying
Okay,
the
I have the King James, and it's Matthew 6,
6:9.
6:9.
6:9. It says, "After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name."
Yeah.
It says which?
Yeah. It was our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be
It
thy name.
was, I know. Yes.
Okay, keep reading. I'm going to show
My
you where.
NSAB has who is in heaven,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
Yeah, it used to be who.
yeah.
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Aileen.
Okay. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, and it was on earth.
It was Aileen.
As in-
Is it Aileen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was on earth, but now it's in earth.
Right. That's
Okay,
right.
keep going.
As it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us, and forgive us our debts as we forgive forgive our debtors, sorry.
Aileen,
Lead us not into, yes.
it used to be 12, verse 12 was, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Now, yes, but I do remember in this here actual Bible that I have, which is the King James, even though you're right, because I remember reciting that in school and stuff, it
Okay.
did say this in this one here.
Debts?
Anyway,
Well,
yes.
Aileen, look at verse 14.
Yes.
What does it say?
It says, "For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you."
Shouldn't
Yeah.
it be debts?
Yes.
See, whoever
It's
rewrote
definitely changed. It's definitely
Yes
changed.
and
I
no.
can see the changes.
whoever rewrote this either forgot to change 14 or left it in there to give us a hint that the Bible has been supernaturally rewritten.
It's crazy, guys, because I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing the changes, and I know what this used to say. He's right. It's been changed.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm nearing the big 60,
Yeah, I'm. Were you born in 65?
66.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a year younger than me. I was born in 65.
I just pulled my oldest Bible I have. Let me see what year this one is. 1952 Bible,
Okay.
and it says, "Who art in heaven."
Is that the King James?
I don't even think it's a King James, but it says, "Who art." It's a Revised Standard Version.
Can you read the prayer?
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us
Okay.
not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Oh, what does verse 14 say?
For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
Okay, so do you see the supernatural changes?
It doesn't even sound right to me, not from what we did in school, anyways.
No, ma'am, the 1950 version, verse 12 says, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Uh-huh.
So shouldn't 14 be, if you do not forgive men their debts, your heavenly Father will not forgive your debts?
I don't know on that
Yeah,
one.
it used to be trespasses, and
Yeah. So
the
your
first one used to be
19,
trespasses.
your 1952 Bible has been supernaturally altered.
That's wild. That's the oldest one I've got, because I was born in 1960, and this was given to me when I was young.
Yeah. What state do you live in, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Tennessee,
Okay, what is the capital of Tennessee?
Nashville.
In the real world, it was Knoxville. But in the simulation that we entered in 2012, it's always been Nashville. Do you remember the capital of Australia?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Does anybody?
Canberra. Canberra.
No,
Yeah, it was Sydney, but
It's
was
Canberra.
but it was changed to Canberra in the simulation. Nobody
it's funny
knows
because I
about
remember
Canberra.
Sydney too.
I
It
think
was
I remember
Sydney.
Sydney being it now that you mentioned that
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in geography class.
yeah, yeah. But I have to tell you, you're probably going to drop me down. But
I don't know.
In Leviticus 3:17, we are instructed not to drink blood or eat blood. In John 6:53, Jesus said, "Drink my blood and eat my flesh."
That's the Christ. That's not what we believe. We believe
Yeah.
that Yahweh is the God of the Old Testament. Is the devil.
Okay, so you don't
And the
you
Christ
don't
is
believe.
not.
Okay, so you don't believe in Jesus, in Jesus?
We believe in Jesus Bar Abba. We don't believe that Jesus Christ is the imposter. There's two
Okay.
Jesus in the New Testament.
Well, actually, his name is Yahawashai, and he's black.
No, that's no.
Can you,
No.
Abba's daughter?
Yeah.
Can you go to Deuteronomy 28:48?
No, because Deuteronomy is written by Yahweh, and Yahweh is the devil. That's the God of the Old Testament.
Okay, so what do you guys do? You keep the Mosaic Law or no?
No.
No.
No,
Heavens,
So,
no.
so you eat pork and shrimp and crab and lobster?
no,
No.
Well, I do.
no. I don't personally, but
I do personally.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do?
I do.
but we,
So,
yeah.
so you don't obey the Mosaic Law.
No,
You don't.
those laws were given by Yahweh, who is the devil.
Okay. So who do you worship?
Jesus Bar. Well,
Father.
we don't worship, but we do follow Jesus Bar Abba.
And what does Jesus Barabbas stand for? What does he
He is
stand
the
for?
Son of the Father.
Son of the
Okay,
Father.
but
Lamb and Bar Abba means Son
So-
of the Father.
so is anything in the Bible of Jesus Barabbas?
Not much.
Yeah, only there's certain words, like in order to be able to read the Bible, to know what does go with Jesus Barabbas and what goes with Yahweh, you have to know the character of the Father. And
Okay.
you have to know that there's no darkness in him. And you can actually separate everything in the Bible from the Father. The only thing that the Father has in the Bible is there's a bit of Genesis, the very beginning, and there's
Okay.
also in Jesus's words. And it's just a sec. In Jesus's words, if you
Okay.
read Jesus's words, you can actually see the two Jesuses by the character.
Well, I do see two people in the New Testament. One is Yahawashai, the black Messiah, and one is Jesus, Jesus, who is white.
I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
into
we-
the racial thing. I don't believe that
Well,
Yeah.
Jesus was
no, but
any race from Earth.
Well, do you know that the real Hebrews are the blacks, the Mexicans, the Native
No,
Americans?
we don't believe all that. We've been down that road actually. We all, like several of us came from doing the Hebrew roots and the Hebrew messianic stuff. No, we don't. Jesus Barabbas was not of this world. He does not have a nationality. He does not have a race. He does not have a land. He was sent by the Father. He does not, and his kingdom is not here.
Okay, so
He said,
what is your
he said
what is
almost
your
40
source?
times
What is your source for
Jesus'
Jesus
words.
Barabbas?
Jesus' words.
But you don't
But you
believe
have
in
to
that.
separate. We believe, well, I think our Father left clues for us because the very beginning in Genesis, he told us that what he created, and he told us who he was. And then Jesus, Barabbas, actually talks about his nature, his character emulates who the Father is because he is the Father. So when he spoke and when he when he healed and when he did all the things that he did and he forgave people and everything like that, you can see his character. And Jesus the Christ was a Roman Catholic, Roman Empire creation by Yahweh. You can actually,
well, no.
our source is mostly John, the book of John.
Okay. Okay, but
There
the
is some
Bible,
in a few of the other gospels, but
Matthew 5, yeah.
what were you going to say?
yeah, but the Bible is being supernaturally rewritten. Did you read it before or after we entered a simulation?
And when do you say we entered the simulation?
Remember when the Mayans said the world was going to end in 2012?
So I've read the Bible before that, and I've read the Bible after that.
Yeah. And you didn't notice the changes?
I've definitely noticed changes in the Bible because they've changed a lot of stuff, but it's the rewriting of the Bible. I didn't notice what we were talking
I'm
about
saying-
today.
No,
I
I'm
didn't
saying,
notice what we were talking about today
no, I'm saying,
until today.
I'm saying what you read before the simulation with that same Bible and then reading it again after while in the simulation.
It doesn't change Jesus Barabbas' words. It doesn't change his
we-
Change the
character.
meaning.
You just said it changed from the lion to the wolf. How does it
Well,
not
what do
change?
you believe? What do you go by?
Well, I know what the Bible used to say. I've been reading the Bible since 1985, before the simulation. And I know that it said the lion shall lay down with the lamb. I know the Lord's Prayer before the simulation was,
Yes.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Right.
Give us
Okay,
this
so
day our daily
I
bread.
get that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you going with that?
So I'm just saying, how did you get this Jesus Barabbas?
Well, first of all, when I was a young girl, I remember reading about Barabbas in the Bible, and then it said Jesus Barabbas, but it had been taken out. Barabbas was taken out, and it was just but Jesus was taken out of Barabbas. It just went from Jesus Barabbas to Barabbas,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
anyway,
So,
yeah. So
so you don't follow the Mosaic law. You said that's
no,
of the devil.
no, it's of Yahweh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what is your ultimate destination after you cease to exist on this earth?
If you believe in Jesus Barabbas, when you pass away from here, you go straight to the Father. He says you
Okay.
go straight to the Father.
And pork eating is okay, and shrimp, and there's no law?
Yeah, I don't think that eating pork is healthy for you because of
Yeah.
what we know about pork, and there's no sweat glands and this and that, but we don't follow the Mosaic law. So no, there are no restrictions. If you
Okay,
want to
so-
eat meat, you can go ahead. I don't personally, but
So anything,
Our Father gave us 2 commandments. He said to love
Yes.
him and love your neighbor as yourself.
yeah, but
That's
that's,
it.
but that's that's from Jesus.
Right.
That's from-
the word. No, not the Christ. That was the word. That was from Jesus Barabbas, and that's that's who we follow.
Well, do you follow the Mosaic law, Stephen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you unalive your kid if they rebel against you? Can you take them out to the fence and pick up stones and unalive them?
Well, unfortunately, I live in a nation that does not honor the Mosaic law.
So you follow the nation above the God that you say you follow in the Old
No,
Testament?
no. I am a Gentile trying to follow the Mosaic law, but the real Hebrews are the blacks, the Mexicans, the Native Americans, the Filipino, the Hawaiians, the Colombians.
do you realize that we don't want to be
What does that matter?
Yahweh's chosen people? We do not want to be Yahweh's chosen Israelite people.
Not a
Okay.
good thing.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between you and Christian? You both are lawless.
We
We don't follow Christ. It's not that
we follow the law of Jesus Barabbas, which is love him, love the Lord, love Father as
Yes.
with all your heart, and love your
Mind, body,
neighbor
and
as
soul.
yourself.
And
Yeah,
hang the
that we-
law
That's
and hang the law on these two.
The law hangs on
Because
those
if
two.
you-
Look that word up. The word
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
means like to unalive it.
No, it says hang
Yeah.
the law upon these two. Hang all the law and the prophets on these
All
two.
the law and the
It
prophets
says all the
hang
law
on
is
these
hang
two.
on these. Yeah, you're saying it
Yeah.
backwards.
They hang on these
They
two.
hang.
They hang up
That's
like
right.
on the cross.
Hold
They
on.
hang up.
Because if you love your neighbor as yourself and you love the Father with all your heart and your soul, you're not going to do any of those other things anyway. You're not going to behave in those ways. So
Okay.
you don't need a law, and that's what he said. If for those who need a law, then go ahead. But we don't need a law. We have the Father in us. We have the truth. We have love for our neighbor. That
But-
keeps us. We also have our conscience, which is what he
But
said
you
he
did-
would send us the Comforter
Hold on,
and this
Stephen.
He would send us his the Spirit of Truth, and that's what we have.
So
That's
do
what we go by.
you feel that Paul and Barnabas were real apostles?
No,
No.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Stephen.
They were
What was
apostles
the
to
law?
the Christ. They were apostles.
that's
to
right, Sally. Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the law before? How did Cain know he did something evil if there was no law given yet?
Well, they knew what sin offering was correct. And
You said
do you,
what?
do you, they knew that an animal sacrifice had to be, Abel knew that. Cain knew it too, but he chose not to do it. He gave produce.
Because my thing is, and that's a good point, but and where do you think they learned that from?
From Yahushua.
From
But
Jesus?
no, Jesus and Yahushua are two different
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. One is
Yeah,
black, one is
Yahweh.
white. Yeah.
So, because my thing, I always wonder, like, I'm like, Cain knew he did something bad before Moses, like thousands of years before Moses went up on the mountain and got a law from Yahweh. Wouldn't that make Yahweh unjust to not even let him know, according to you, since you feel like you need a law to know between right and wrong?
Well, the law is perfect, but this entity Jesus tried to change the law. You have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I say, if you looketh upon a woman, you've already committed adultery. See, that's
Okay.
adding to the law.
So no,
That's-
it actually
that's
is
all.
correcting the law because
No.
in Matthew
Yeah.
5, hold on. In Matthew 5, he spends the whole chapter comparing Yahweh and how he's corrupt and unjust and showing how it's supposed to be. So, like when he says
Oh, okay.
when he says
Sorry.
you've heard it said an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Your tooth.
But I say
But
don't
I
pay
say-
evil for evil. Yes. So he's showing that Yahweh is not the Father.
Okay,
He's saying-
so you do worship Jesus.
No.
Just
Yeah.
because just because I'm showing
Jesus
you that
Barabbas.
Jesus said that Yahweh is not
There's
the
two
Father does not mean
Jesuses.
I worship Jesus.
No, there's one Jesus who
There's two
hates the
Jesuses.
Mosaic law, and then there's one who is black, and his name is Yahushai, and he said that we're
No.
still under the Mosaic law.
If anything, the black
One
one,
is
James the
Yahweh,
Just, is the one
and
that
one is
follows the
Jesus.
Mosaic
Jesus-
law.
Say that again.
Go ahead, Ellen. Sorry.
No, Tim,
Oh,
say that
I was
again.
go ahead, Tim.
I say, if anything,
Go ahead.
the black one would be James the Just, who
No.
who was the Christ, and he is the one that followed the law because he was a spotless lamb for Yahweh, the devil.
Yes.
So Yahweh's the devil.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what you keep on misunderstanding us because that fact there. So I think we need to focus there.
No, I just want to know, where you came up with this.
If Matthew 5, Jesus says, who would give their child a serpent when they ask for a fish? Well, Yahweh did that in the Old Testament
Where
And
did
you brought
Yahweh do
up-
that?
when they were in the wilderness and they were hungry and complaining for food. And he also gave them stones instead of when they asked for bread.
No, he gave them manna,
Yes.
and he also gave
But when
them
you look it
Which
up-
quail.
is
When you look it up, it's stone. It's as
yes.
hard as, and they even says in the text that they had to grind it to turn it into bread.
Can you
So
show me
Exactly.
where that is?
Okay.
I've
can
been reading
I
the
show you
Bible.
that? No, I mean
Oh.
it's in, was it
Artist, can you,
is
I
it
don't know if you can
Exodus?
Yeah,
find
it's
that,
in
artist.
it's in
but
Numbers. Hang on a second, I'll find it
Numbers?
for him.
And then you
Okay,
brought up
just let
Deuteronomy
artist
28
find it.
yourself. And Deuteronomy 28, yeah, he sends 10 curses on his own people. Is that good character? Is that someone you want to follow?
He gave him a choice. If you follow my law and statutes, this, and this will happen. If
Is
you
that what you would do?
don't, then you will be placed in slavery again.
That's not it. There's more to it than that. And I'm guaranteeing you
All right, I'll
that
probably
those
find
are
it
not things
quicker
that you
here.
would do to your own children. Like they'll be hung on trees. Would you do that to your children? Why would you worship someone that has worse character than you?
Well, no,
Verse for
actually,
him. It's Numbers
Yeah.
11:8, and it says, "And the people went about and gathered it on the ground in mills and beat it in a mortar and baked it in pans and made cakes of it." And
Right,
they had to beat it with a mortar. It was like rocks.
Yeah.
no, but
exactly.
what are they talking about? Can you show me the whole thing?
The manna.
Manna. They're talking about manna.
from
No,
heaven.
the manna was like honey, was like a wafer.
No,
No,
it was
it
coriander.
wasn't.
It
It
was
was
said
all
it's like
like that.
coriander seed, which is like a rock crystal almost, and it said it had to be beat.
Yes.
In verse 8, Numbers 11:8, it has to be beat with a mortar. That's like a mortar and pestle
Yeah.
thing, like you beat up rocks. Or
Yeah, I have a mortal and pestle
Yeah.
right now.
and I was
Yeah.
gonna tell him the word for hang on those all the law and the prophets hang on these two, are hung on these two. It's like it's the same word in Deuteronomy 21 when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them. Wait a minute, no, I'm reading the wrong verse. Now I done got confused. I had it looked up. I lost the verse when I went to switch to get the Numbers one. But it's the same word for if somebody's of the death penalty, they have to hang. They're to be hung up. It's the same word they used in Deuteronomy 11 for that.
Well, no, if somebody broke the Mosaic law, they were stoned to death.
No, there
Yeah.
is a law in the Deuteronomy 21 that says if the person commits a penalty of death, they are to be hung on a tree. And it's the same word for hung in the Greek Septuagint as it is for the word for the hanging of the law and the prophets.
I've just shown you that the Bible is being supernaturally rewritten.
So there's
So
nothing
what
you're
you-
going to accept
so, yeah,
anyway, no matter
yeah.
what we say. So
No,
it's like this
but
is
I
a mute
remember-
conversation.
No, but the penalty for breaking the law, working on the Shabbat, was stoning
Yeah,
to
but
death.
a penalty
It's all
worthy of death. It
Yahweh's.
says they're to be hung on a tree
Don't you, Stephen?
and
We're
on
trying to
display.
we're trying to show you that Jesus said that he does not repay evil for evil. All of this law stuff is repaying evil for evil. If you don't do this, I'm gonna
No.
do this.
No, see, the Jesus
Yes.
said, the real Messiah said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But this entity, but this,
No.
but this
No, he did
entity,
not.
can I speak? Can I speak? Oh,
You
okay.
can. Yes, you can.
Okay. But this entity said, but I say, if somebody strikes you on the left, turn to the right and let him smack you again. See, this entity says, let somebody kick your butt.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. No, it's not
No.
the entity. It's Jesus Barabbas.
is love and light. In him is no darkness, none.
No darkness
He
at all.
he is
Did you read the
darkness.
whole thing?
Testament is
No.
all dark.
He
See?
said, drink my blood and eat my flesh.
No,
That's
that
Christ.
was the Christ.
No, that was
Jesus
Yahweh.
Christ.
That was Yahweh.
No, but Yahweh said, do not drink blood. But this entity
Yahweh
said,
and
drink my
Christ
blood
are the
and eat my
same.
flesh.
They're the same. Yahweh and Christ are the same. Do you realize that? That you're quoting
You're
Yahweh,
saying
and
they-
quoting Christ, and they're both the devil.
No, Yahweh says, don't drink blood. But Jesus,
Yahweh-
Jesus, Satan says, drink my blood and eat my flesh.
Stephen, do you also realize Yahweh says don't kill, but then he demands sacrifice?
He
Do you
only
also
demanded-
realize that?
He demanded animal
Do you realize
sacrifice.
that he's dualistic?
It's
Do you
still
realize that you
it's
need
the
to know
same
the
thing.
Father's character?
Hold on, when you eat blood and drink
Because
and when you eat flesh and drink blood, is it not an animal?
No, it's don't drink blood at all. That's what he's saying. Don't be like the pagans that drink blood and the Satanists that drink blood.
What I'm trying to show you is that so if Yahweh says don't kill and then don't unalive, and then he unalives people and then he requires people and animals to be unalive for him. This is what I'm trying to show you that
Yeah,
why
if they break the Mosaic law, the penalty for breaking the Mosaic law is death.
and Jesus said that is not of the Father because the Father has no darkness in him at all. 1 John 1:5.
But
And
Jesus met Paul on the road to Damascus when the real Messiah said, "If somebody says the Lord is in the desert, don't believe." But where did
that's
Paul
Jesus
meet
Christ.
Jesus?
Yeah, that was Jesus Christ. The one that's the reason why the real Barabbas, Jesus Barabbas, said that so that we could differentiate between the two. These are the clues he left behind, as
Yeah,
Ellen stated.
but the real Messiah, Yahushai, said we are still under the Mosaic law, which you people do not follow.
Where do you get
He keep telling
Yahushai?
you.
What manuscript do you get Yahushai from?
I got that from the Black Hebrews, who are the real
What
Hebrews.
manuscript does that come from? I have
No,
never seen that, and I read the manuscripts.
No, but see, we don't have access to those manuscripts
So how do they know with a name if you don't have access to the
because they are
manuscript?
the real Hebrews.
Do you know there are no
and
manuscripts
what
with any names in them? Period.
Hold on.
And,
Let's go to Joshua 24:19 real quick, so we can show him what we're talking. Because he's not understanding us, and he's thinking we're not understanding him.
no, I understand that you don't believe you're under the Mosaic law, and I'm
Yes.
trying to tell you, unless you obey the Mosaic law, you will not. The real Messiah will say, "Depart from me, Tim. I never knew you. You
And we're
workers of
telling you
iniquity."
we
See,
disagree
you've
with
got
that
it
because
totally
that's the wrong
backwards.
Jesus. It's the wrong one.
Yeah.
The fact that he would even say that people would be surprised that he says, "I never knew you," shows that there's another one going around deceiving people. Even
Not
Jesus
everyone
said,
that says to me, Lord, Lord, I'm going to tell him I didn't know him. What is he saying?
he says, "Lord,
Calling
Lord."
him Lord, Lord, or
No, no.
Yahweh, Yahweh, or
He also says
Exactly.
don't mix good with evil, and that he doesn't change. So he says he
He
has
does.
no darkness in him.
He,
So how can you
he-
mix good with just a second? How can you mix good
Okay.
with evil
Yeah.
if he says there's no darkness in him? How do you take the darkness of the unaliving people and like all the sacrifices and all that kind of stuff and put it in with Jesus Barabba, the good? How do you mix the two? You're not supposed to mix the two. And what we're trying to show you is that there's two Jesuses. The
Okay,
one
so
that has no darkness in him, and the other is the Christ.
okay,
and you
so-
got the
Yahweh's
verse
born.
where Moses
Hey.
goes up to, and he said he draws near to the thick darkness where God was. God doesn't dwell in thick darkness, not the Father. It's like, but Yahweh's always found in thick darkness.
Aileen, do you work on Saturday?
I don't work, period. I'm retired. But
I'm retired
I
too.
did.
but
I did
you-
used to work on Saturday.
I
I don't believe because I don't believe in the Sabbath. That's a Yahweh thing.
Stephen, Jesus said to the woman that committed adultery, "Go and sin no more." Did he
Yeah.
unalive her? Did he?
Yeah,
He
that-
doesn't.
because-
Hold on, Stephen. Let me get my whole thought out. All right. So did he? He didn't unalive her. Because he does not repay evil for evil. Do you see how Yahweh and that Jesus are different? And if you can see that, how do you overlook it over and over again?
Okay, so you worship the Jesus that let the
No.
woman go. Is that what you're saying?
You call him Jesus. He's Jesus Barabba.
How do you say Jesus in Spanish?
He
Why?
wasn't Spanish.
He wasn't Spanish.
Sure he is.
No, he wasn't.
did you
Yours
hear what
was.
we said in the
Your
beginning?
Christ
We
was some
said that
kind
he
of
wasn't
race.
from here. He was
Guys,
not from
he's
Earth.
trying to send us around the maypole over and over and over with the same argument. It's like this
Yeah,
is circular
but
reasoning and it's going
Stephen.
nowhere.
Hey,
really.
Stephen.
Jesus said that he wasn't from here. He didn't reside here. He resides in heaven. He
Well,
doesn't
no.
have a nationality. He wasn't born of a virgin. He wasn't born of a virgin.
He was
He
sent.
was a monogene. He was sent like almost 40 times. He
Yeah.
said he was sent. He didn't say I was born of a virgin.
Yeah.
He even
Christ
like
was
if you
born.
even just listen to what he said when he was on the cross that, or when they were talking about Mary being down below and they were saying that that was his mother, that wasn't his. He said it. He said woman. It wasn't his mother. He wasn't from here. He doesn't have a nationality. He doesn't have a place of birth here because he wasn't born here. He showed up. He was sent.
Okay. So basically, let me just understand this and then I'll drop down. So you can do anything. You can do anything you want. You can eat anything you want. You don't have to keep the Shabbat. So there is no law, right?
Right,
Correct.
there's no law, but the thing is that when we believe in Jesus Barabbas, who doesn't have any darkness in him, we try to emulate his behavior, which is no darkness. So we don't need a law to tell us because we have our consciences to tell us when we're doing something wrong. And when you have this, you automatically feel horrible when you do something wrong. It's already in you. That's what he gave us.
What do you consider wrong?
Doing something to against somebody else, like
Wait, I'm talking to Aileen.
Okay.
doing something
Okay.
against somebody else, like if like because you're like I
Like
wouldn't
what?
I wouldn't unalive anybody, I wouldn't hurt anybody, I wouldn't
Yeah, but you're not
steal
under the
anything, I
law,
wouldn't.
so you're not under the
I'm
law,
not
so
under the
anything
law,
goes.
but the Father already put that in me. It's in me not to want to do anything that Jesus wouldn't do.
You're
I would
using the
only
word
want to do
the
what
law.
Jesus did.
You're using the word the law like a law, because
Yeah.
because when they say the law, they're talking about Yahweh. That's the law.
Hey,
But
Stephen.
when we say we do to
Yeah,
others
Kip's
as
up
we
there.
want done to us, and I'm gonna get you, Kip. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna finish this point. When we say Jesus said, "Do to others as you want done to you," hey, that is what he expects. That's how you get into heaven. When the man asked him, okay, so that's what we do.
Yeah.
Stephen,
Kip has
Yeah.
something he wants to ask you there, Stephen.
Yeah, Kip, go ahead.
you're about the Old Testament. You got your book right handy with you?
Why? What's
Well,
what did you want to?
Look up Deuteronomy 23:2, and I'll tell you why here in a minute.
Oh man, I don't have power on my other
I'm here.
device.
I'm here. Hold on.
Okay,
Deuteronomy
let somebody
20.
else. I brought this up to these people before, and I want to hear it from you.
A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Oh, okay.
Even into the 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. So if you don't know who your father is, you'll never be anything to Yahweh, period.
Okay, so Yahweh, in his words, has kept me from entering the congregation of the Lord by his own words.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's who I am, okay? I was adopted.
Yeah,
You
but
deserve that.
But no, I don't
I don't
believe
know
this
who my
is.
father was. I don't know who.
I believe-
It was my mom's boyfriend.
I believe this has been
got to
supernaturally
meet-
insert. Oh,
She passed away.
okay.
I
I
got
believe
close-
this is. Oh,
Closure in my
okay.
life. Eating garbage.
You're coming in.
You're cutting off,
coming
Kip.
in
You're cutting
You're
in
coming
and out,
in.
Kip.
2x5.
God,
Yeah,
fulfill the law. You just don't believe in it. Okay, comfort in the Father. I find comfort
Yeah.
in Barabbas, in Jesus. I believe there's two of them. I studied the Bible for years. I went down the rabbit hole of Paul. I went down those rabbit holes. I spent many years studying it, and that law was done away with.
Okay.
And
Okay, so
if
you
you want,
worship.
if that's the way that
You worship.
the Father.
Okay.
I believe in him. That's who I pray to. That's who I believe. I've seen things on this earth
Okay.
that cannot be explained by a God that's so hateful and despiteful.
Yeah.
I've seen
Okay.
things that are, the only way I can describe it is love, and that's not in the God of this earth.
So,
It's not.
so Kip, do you worship the Jesus that let down the sheet in the book of Acts with all the manner of unclean animals? Is that the one you're worshiping?
No.
Nope.
I
Okay.
believe in the one that did the healings on Sabbath,
Yeah,
the one
and
that
said
went
that my
against
Father
what
always
Yahweh,
works.
the one that
Absolutely,
went
Kip.
against, huh?
Said
Absolutely.
absolutely. That's the same
So,
one I
so,
worship too.
The one,
so you worship.
listen, Stephen, I've listened to you for 15 minutes now. You
Okay.
listen to me.
I'm just trying to have a dialogue.
Let me get this out first, okay?
Okay.
It's been on me for a long time, and I tried getting it out before to others. The microphone kept cutting out on me. I had problems with it, but
Yeah.
I don't believe. And the reason why I was adopted, and the reason why I started looking into things when, by all means, I should have been dead many times. I'm still alive, and I don't know why. When I've lost friends and family that are close to me throughout all these diseases and all this that's going on, people that had faith, I was
Yeah.
adopted into a Mormon family along with 4 other children. And believe me, there's things about us that are different. Well, me and my brother, and it's because we share the same. To me, I don't know how to explain it other than being supernatural, because me and my youngest brother have the same type of a background. He did not know his birth mother. When he did find out about her, she was a young child giving birth to a child. Okay, and so he didn't have a father. I didn't have a father, and I don't care to go looking for another man when I have my Father in heaven. That's all that's where I get my comfort from. That's what carries me by day to day. That's
Okay.
what helps me in these times of solitude, these times of people that have turned against me. And these people that I've met here on Artist Channel, we're like-minded. We're like-minded, and there's a lot of love. There's a lot of caring. And I believe in the Jesus that worked on the Sabbath and went against what the Pharisees. Okay,
So,
they're still trying to push the law, and Jesus is going against it.
so you believe in the one that says, "Drink my blood and eat my
No,
flesh."
no.
Well,
That's
that
not-
one
See,
again.
no.
Stephen, you're mixing the two up.
You're
There's
mixing
two.
them
You
up.
actually have to look. You have to divide the Jesus, the one Jesus story, okay, that they're putting in the Bible, in the Gospels, the one Jesus story. You have
Okay.
to separate it by the character, because there's two mixed in with one. They
Okay,
mix the
so-
two together,
So who's
just
the
like
one?
they did two creation stories.
So who's the one in Matthew 5:18? Host, if you could bring that up. Who's the one that said, "Till heaven and earth pass, not one jot, not one tittle shall be removed from the law"? Who's the one that
That
said
could
that?
be Jesus Christ. Jesus
That's
Christ.
Christ.
Okay,
That's the Christ.
okay.
And if that's
So,
the road
but
you want to
you-
go
but
down,
you-
then go ahead.
But you don't believe in the one that says, so the one that said, "Drink my blood and eat my flesh," you don't,
No,
you
That's Jesus
attribute that.
Christ.
no. And when I was a kid, I walked away from the Mormon church at 14. I was sick and tired of taking the sacrament. I felt guilty. I felt it was wrong.
Okay,
Okay, and that's
Okay.
exactly what they're doing. The Mormons are doing it every Sunday. They're partaking of the sacrament. They're eating his flesh
So-
and drinking his blood.
Stephen,
Saying artists.
okay. No, see,
Yeah.
look at this verse 521.
hey
You
Stephen,
have heard, oh,
can I say something real quick?
yeah,
The Bible is Yahweh's book.
It is.
It is his story. Yahweh is the devil. Yahweh's son, Jesus Christ, was born of Mary and Joseph. That is not our Father. So
Okay.
all this that you keep spitting at us about drinking the blood and everything, that's the Christ. That's Yahweh's son. And you're referencing Yahweh said, "Don't eat my flesh or drink blood" in the Old Testament, and then you're saying that our Father said, "Drink my blood, eat my flesh." No, he didn't. Our Father never said that. That's the Christ. So that
Oh,
is
no.
Yahweh's son. The
No,
only place what we're doing on this channel is we're breaking the Bible down and showing this deception to try to reach people like yourself who is tied to Yahweh and tied to the law and tied to the Old Testament. And we're trying to show you that that's the devil, you know, that our Father was sent. He said it 38 times. And the places that you can really find our Father are the red letters in the book of John. That's why we really prefer the book of John. We prefer Jesus's words, what he said.
It's a narrow path, Stephen.
But you didn't even know that the Bible was being supernaturally rewritten.
So you say.
No,
It doesn't change any of the meanings. Everything that you brought up, we understand.
No, it
but It
does.
didn't change the meaning.
It doesn't
It
change
actually
the
doesn't.
character.
well, let me
It
ask you
doesn't
this.
change the character of the Father or Jesus Barabbas. It doesn't change
So-
the character.
In Revelations 1:13 in the King James,
Revelation is the book the book of Revelation is titled The Revelation of Jesus Christ. It is
Okay.
not about our Father.
Hold on, Stephen.
okay,
Jesus said, "I come in my Father's name, and you don't receive me. Another will come in his own name. Him you will receive." This is
he
showing
was
that there's
talking
two.
about
Stephen,
Jesus.
Stephen. There's two Jesuses. There's two.
No, there's only one Jesus and one Yahushai.
Stephen.
Where do you get this?
He said,
Yahweh
"Hold
from?
on, Stephen."
I
He
thought I
said,
already explained that.
"Stephen." He said, "I come in my Father's name." And he
Yeah.
said, "Another will come in his own name. Him you will receive." That shows that there's two. Don't just brush past it and say there's not two. Can you look at that? Tell me you acknowledge that he's talking about two.
No, I am saying there are two. One is black and one is white.
Jesus has
Okay.
no nationality.
It's not about
Where
race.
does it say
It
that?
has-
Then where does it say that? What
It's
scripture
not
does
about
it say
race.
that there's one that's black and one that's white?
Well,
What scripture?
can you bring up Deuteronomy 28:48?
Oh, but it's supernaturally changed, don't you know?
No, but I know what it used to say, and that is
It's like,
correct.
what good
Yeah.
does it do? Everything that you're just bringing up what you want to see, and then
The only-
anything you don't want to see is
Don't wanna see is
supernaturally changed.
It only changes when it doesn't work for you, Stephen.
Yep.
No, we just identified that the Lord's Prayer had been supernaturally altered.
Yeah, but how do we know the verse you're going to show me hadn't been supernaturally changed? I don't know that.
You agree.
If I
that-
show you one, you say it's changed.
My thing is, what does it matter what their races are? We're talking about their character.
Yeah,
I don't
Jesus-
For
understand.
God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten Son, that
Okay,
whosoever
now, what-
believed in him would not perish but have eternal life.
Now, what Jesus
Thank
is
you.
that?
That's our Father.
That's the real one.
Okay, that's the one that says all you have to do is believe. You
The
don't
light
have to
was in the
follow
world,
any
and the
law.
world received it not.
Do you know that had been supernaturally changed?
says
man.
you.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
So
For God
you
so
know what?
loved the
Since
world-
everything's, go ahead.
for God so loved the world that he gave his
Oh, what happened to him?
I'm done. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Supernatural that. I'm sorry. it's a okay, I'm gonna be real nice here. I'm gonna tell you, Stephen, when you find a manuscript that has Yahushua in it, bring it to me. I wanna see it and I'll be happy. Okay? But you go find me a manuscript.
How do you pay so much?
Share it with
so
all
much-
of us.
Yep,
How do you
share it
pay
with
so
all
much
of us.
attention to detail?
There's no
with
sense
the-
in sitting here arguing for an hour when somebody's not gonna even listen.
He wasn't listening to anything that we had to say. He was just wanting to talk.
I was gonna say, how do you put so much attention to detail in the supernaturally changed parts, but then you completely disregard, all of these clues that these are two different peoples, that Yahweh is evil, And then what does any of it have to do with the morality that comes behind worshiping a deity that unalives people and children? That's why I was trying to show him 24:19, and then and you brought up artists, the dashing the babies against the rocks. I wanted to focus on the morality of it. Like, why are you following
Yep.
him? Why are you so eager to get into this black group that's following this immoral person? It's just silly.
It's what's made all the wars. It's what's made all the unaliving and the hate and it's ridiculous. It's like,
They can't see the character. They cannot see the difference. Like they can't see that there's two that there's a duality of it all. Like it's like making excuses for some criminal who's gone out and unalived, like people at the theater or something, you know, like and making excuses for him because he did
Hey,
what
they
Yahweh
wasn't following
wanted.
the
Like,
law. Yeah.
you know, like come on, like you can't make excuses for one behavior and then say that he's a good God. He is a good God. There's no darkness in him. You know, you can't mix the two. A good tree doesn't have bad fruit, and a bad tree doesn't have good fruit. How do you mix the two together?
You know what's
It's
really sad?
You know,
Oh,
what?
go ahead.
I was
just going to say, like, you know, if you're supposed to come as a child, how does a child understand things? They understand good and bad. You teach a child good and bad, and they know the difference. Like Golanov said, like you take a baby or a child knows if they've stole something from a store. You know, they feel terrible if their parent says something to them. Where did you get this? You know, a child knows that.
it's very sad.
They
It's
don't
like the
mix
whole
the two.
entire world wants to be Yahweh's child when Yahweh don't care about his own children.
And he don't forgive.
No.
And I wanted
And
to
he
bring that
doesn't
up in
forgive. He doesn't.
Josh 24.
He doesn't take them to the promised land. He only took 2 out of over 2 million. It's like, but everybody's begging to be his child. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
I was going to ask him, don't you, he said that he's trying to get into this Hebrew thing, right? So that means he's been spending his whole life not following the law, and he wants to be forgiven for his trespasses, I'm sure. And I was going to ask him, hey, do you want to be forgiven? Would you want Jesus to say, go sin no more to you? Yahweh don't do that. Why are you trying to follow him?
Yeah.
Yahweh is going to punish you.
You couldn't argue with him because if you show him a verse in the Old Testament, it's been changed. But if he points it out, it's fine. It's not been changed.
Yeah.
So it's like he used that as a way to try to, and it's just circular reasoning. It doesn't work that way. You can't
You don't know
pick.
he's sorry.
Yeah, it's messed up. He was just,
He's eager to be judged by Yahweh.
It's quite sad that they're so loyal and so faithful to that evil deity, and so the part that boggles my brain when we're trying to show people is the closed-mindedness. And you know, imagine if everybody had that kind of compassion for our Father and that kind of loyalty to our Father and what we're teaching, how different this world would be, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, he said 364 or 365 times do not fear, but I feel like these guys just fear. They're so afraid of not being forgiven
It's like
that
superstition.
they'll give excuses to the poor behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Hi,
so
Jen.
afraid.
Oh my gosh. Like
Hi,
I
Jen.
just logged in and I heard I missed all of it, by the way.
That's okay. You didn't miss much. We talked in circles for 20 minutes.
Well, I caught that, and then I had that question too, and I think I super got roped into that whole the changes, like wineskins, wine bottles, ass couching, all the other stuff. Like, it's not what I read when I was younger. You know, that's not even what I remember the stories being. But I asked this question to many people. If you're seeing there's a change, because when I started asking questions about the change, that's how I found Artist's page. And to me, it was her pointing out what it actually says, which had been wrong the whole time. And everything she pointed out that was a change was drawing you to the reason why it was wrong, like the location or the parables comparing to the Old Testament. So even if you got locked into a box where I know everything, right? You're, oh, but I researched this, so I just know, instead of just common sensing it, like, it doesn't make sense to you, right? Like you were saying, a child, if I read the Bible stories to my kids, like they have a little Bible book, they're like, this doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? Or that's not right, or that doesn't sound nice. And it's like a fun little book is not fun anymore. So adults think they know everything and they want to go into it with, well, I studied this and I went on this rabbit hole and it's changing because the end is coming. Well, maybe it's changing because like everything's, going to hell in a handbasket, but isn't it also drawing your eye to something else? I mean, that's what I see when I see it.
I think he ran into some Hebrew Israelites that was real convincing.
Well, I was trying to Google that too, and it said something about the Israelite Church of God or something like that, where they're spouting that name off.
Yeah, that name is not in any manuscript. The only names you're going to find is in Greek because that's the only manuscripts we had.
All the Y names are part of that tetragrammaton.
And you only find Jesus one time in all those manuscripts, and that's in the book of Mark. All the rest of it's just initials. And that's sad, but we know that Oregon said that it was changed from Jesus Barabba to just Jesus. So we even have documentation the name had been changed. It's like, it's wild.
I don't know. I think of it like this. I think of it like that. My husband made this analogy today, and he was like, if everybody wants to hop on the I-10 because it's quicker and faster, even if there's traffic, you're going to get on it because it's going to take you where you need to go instead of taking that back road. Yeah, I don't want to be on the same road as everybody else. I'd rather take 10 back roads to get where I'm going.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same here.
Well,
In heaven, I was just gonna say, in heaven, there's no murderers and no grapists, and you know what I'm saying. So what law do you need?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know. Like, I think like I was waiting to get on whenever it was being said. I can't remember if it was Eileen. I'm saying that right, Eileen or Sally.
It's okay.
That was talking about Ellen. Okay. I know there was a conversation about that. That was saying like a kid doesn't know they steal until you tell them they steal. They don't know, they're corrupted by everything. I mean, they don't know they're seeing a bird until you tell them it's a bird. They're mystified by something beautiful flying in the sky, and then you say bird and it's like, oh, well, it's just a bird. Everything is innocent and loving to them until you change it for them and you slap a label on it.
Exactly, and that's why Jesus said we got to get our innocence back. Look at what Yahweh does. There's no innocence involved in that. So many points that I wanted to bring up to him.
Well, Stephen was talking about Acts over and over. When I kept reading through Acts, I started seeing the house of cards, and I kept thinking, this is because I studied Paul. I kept thinking, if there's something that's going to take Paul down, it's going to take most of the New Testament down. Because when Paul was blinded in the desert and supposedly seen Jesus, was blinded, and then he was given his sight by Barnabas. Okay, he had to go into Damascus. But so you also had throughout all the Acts, you have the Holy Ghost setting Paul apart, Paul and Barnabas. You had Jesus Christ, you had Peter, you had Luke writing about it as a witness. So when that one word takes Paul down, look at what it does with everything there. To me, that's what that whole house of cards come down for me when I read that Jesus is not the Christ. Barabbas. When I came to that conclusion, it took all of that down. And all of it loses credibility to me. So anybody that wants to go and start talking Acts to me, it's like talking to a deaf person. I won't listen to it. I spent 6 years reading it and studying it, and it came down heavy.
I think Sally said it perfect.
I hope that.
Go ahead, Ellen.
Go ahead, Tim. I was just going to say, I hope that, and I'm sorry about I don't even remember what the guy's name was. What was his name?
Stephen.
That
Stephen.
was on here. Stephen. I hope that if anything he gets from this, it's to go and look at just a couple of things, like when we said, Jesus said almost 40 times that he was sent. Check that out. The different things that we said, like check the character out, check anything that we said that he does not understand. I pray that he just checks it out for himself, what we've said. Go to the
Exactly.
videos,
Yeah.
prove us wrong.
Yep.
Steve, I just hope Stephen knows that he's not worshiping the Almighty, because Sally, sorry, Sally said it best. It's Yahweh's book.
Yes.
Once he realized that Yahweh is the evil one, then he'll realize that the whole story is is about him and trying to paint him as the good guy and justify him. But Stephen, if you're listening or if you listen later, I want you to pay attention to Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, as to where Yahweh was introduced in Genesis 2 only, and he created from what was already created. So that means you're worshiping someone who was created, who is not the Almighty, the first and the last, and right? And that he can't even create with his voice. He create with his hands, just like you. You worshiping him.
Didn't create, he made.
Oh yeah, and I keep saying that.
See, that's the difference. No, but
Form.
seriously, those are
Yeah.
things they need to check out, because the Creator, Heavenly Father, created with his breath. Yahweh made with his hands out of clay,
Yeah.
and it says stuff like that all the way through. Like, once you see it, you just can't not see it.
Yep. And thanks for keep correcting me on that, because I need you to beat that
You're
into
not
my
far
head.
off. It's like, yeah. But it made such a difference for me to see that. It's like, wow. And it kept, like, if you really separate it, you can really see it. It's like, wow. Because I actually did a breakdown of that, actually, to see the two creation stories and that, and it makes a big difference in how you read it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful
The
that I had
context
my
is
eyes
everything.
open to this. Yeah.
Yeah. We wish you luck, Steve.
Yeah. I hope he goes to Scriptural Truth and checks out the videos and see where we're coming from.
Stephen, there's a lot of good content there, so go there and read it, watch it.
Everything that we say on here, especially the things that Artist says, she has studied it out. She is not just saying it because she thinks, she thinks it's this way. She's actually studied it out. So, check out the videos and look at her research, and you'll be surprised. It might totally change your mind on things.
Unfortunately, I think he's moved on. I don't think.
Well,
He may
he
have.
might have moved on, but he might see this later. You never know. You never know. And somebody else might need to hear it.
If Artist one day came on and started saying 2 + 2 is 7, she got great credentials. She got the respect of the truth community, even from people that's not even in her group. And but if she starts saying 2 + 2 is 7, we're gonna be looking at her sideways. So I just wanted Stephen to know that it's not about who you think knows the scripture the best. I think he needs to be focused on the character, like Lynn kept saying. Like I always say, focus on the character of the so-called God and so-called Christ. And I think this stuff will be revealed to you. I don't know if Stephen was a father or a daddy or not, but I was speaking to a Muslim outside of my job last night. Actually, he's my guitar teacher. I was always afraid to speak to him about it at his house while I was taking lessons, but he was asking about what do I be doing on TikTok and stuff that kept me from going to his lessons. And I told him, and I asked him, man, I don't went on too far, but I was asking him, would you as a parent only make yourself known to your kids that's smart, only the smart ones?
No.
You see what I'm saying? So, and he couldn't say anything. He understood what I was saying, and that's what I'm always getting at. The character, like if you got better morals than Yahweh, why are you worshiping him?
That speaks loudly.
Well, he said
If
it.
you've got better
If
characters,
if
yeah.
nothing else, believe because of the works I do, and he listed his works of healing and those kind of things, and it's like
Yes.
he healed the blind, and it's like Yahweh said, "Is a person not blind? Have I not done it?" It's like you can just compare, and the nature of the Father was not the one in the Old Testament.
I also was gonna
I
ask him, what did Kip do? I'm sorry, Jen. Give me 1 sec. I'm sorry. It's short. I was gonna ask him, what did Kip do to deserve not being accepted into the congregation? It's not like he didn't follow the law or something.
Right.
But go ahead, Jen.
No, I was just gonna say I think that a lot of people have trouble rationalizing Yahweh because they say that he created, right? Which I know you just said think of being made, and actually I have a bunch of children books about that too. I think it's like a Mayan or Aztec or something, and being made of clay and wood or whatever. But my husband and I were talking about this today, and I was trying to explain to him that the creation, and I've read it to him many times, but he says he doesn't see that because the devil can't give life. Satan, Lucifer, they can't make anything. They can't give anything life. And I was like, well, I explained it like this, and maybe it was wrong, but bad people have babies every day. Every day we're bringing something here. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think that's where people fall on having trouble.
Well, because they think that because we make babies that we made the same way Yahweh made.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it was created, or it was put here. I mean, they
Yeah,
were.
but if
That's
I
how
don't
I look
think-
at it.
If I don't think that if I can make a baby, I still shouldn't be worshipped. Why? Why? If
Well,
Yahweh
I'm not
made
saying
anything-
worshipped. What I'm saying is to say that some evil can't create because bad people have babies every day. They shouldn't, but they make a life. I mean,
But that doesn't make
in
the
this-
baby
in this meat
evil
suit-
and bad,
No,
Well,
and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, the creation of how could only God can create. That's what you get from maybe not even atheists. I think I find a
No,
lot of
I
people that say
understand
they're
what you're saying,
atheists.
Jen. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But here, look at it maybe this way. The Father puts, according to the scripture, and I might be wrong on this, but the Father knit the baby in. He says, I knew you before I knit you in your mother's womb. And that might be Yahweh, but I always took it as it was our Father. So are we are we creating the baby, or are we going through the process of
I can make that
I
even
don't know
better
how to
for you.
explain it. Yep, go
I
ahead.
would say that us making children, I'm not making that by myself for one. I need a woman, right? And then we need,
I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. What I meant
No, I know what you're talking about.
was, they say, no, Yahweh couldn't have created an Adam and Eve because only the Father can create. And I get,
We know that Yahweh can make through his genetic, doing gene, putting babies in test tubes kind of thing. He can create with the materials that were already given.
yeah,
through
that's what
the
I was
Father.
bringing up with the whole I need a woman. I have a piece of material given to me, but the Father creates from scratch, and he does it with his voice. He can just say something and it's done.
But Jen, just before you say something, I get what you're saying about what they think and how they can use that that Yahweh can create, you know, like, I get what you're saying, that they use that argument.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not a good way to say it, but I don't know. Like, honestly, that's the hardest way to explain to somebody, even if you see that there's like, you can't say you don't see the bad in the Old Testament. You can't say you don't see the difference in the behavior. You can't say you don't see that, but the thing is how people rationalize it. No. And then it raises the other questions. I think, you know, well, how did I end up here? Or why am I captive? Or, you know, for people that are still in the church, why am I being punished? You know, whichever way you believe, you have these questions that you can't answer based on what's there. So it's trying to make somebody that's maybe on a higher level than you or needs more, I don't know. Like, my husband and I, we have these conversations all the time, and I feel like he's like a little bit behind where I am, but I can't explain it to him because he, you know, like, just like today, he's like, well, obviously I don't want to be on the same road as everybody else because the path is narrow. So I know if everybody's going that way, I don't want to go that way. But at the same time, he's going that way, you know?
Yeah, I know. Like, there are people like people who have gone to university and they've, you know, got many degrees and whatever. They may need to hear things coming from a different angle than what, say, somebody who didn't go to or even didn't even go to church or whatever. So, you know, they're not as indoctrinated and set in their mindsets. So you might even like. You have to use different ways to come at different people, I guess, is what I think you're trying to say.
I thought she was trying to say that he says that he don't want to be on the broad road, but then he still goes down it accidentally thinking he's on a narrow one. I'm thinking that he has tunnel vision instead of, you know, he don't see that the road is actually wide and he just, you know, he's only in one lane, but he thinks that's the whole road. He doesn't actually read the book either.
He doesn't read it. So he knows like the parables and the Sermon on the Mount, and he says he doesn't need to know the rest. But I don't even think that's enough, because I think there's a lot in there. I mean, the parables aren't just poetry or an allegory, and I don't need somebody to tell me a fancy way of, you know, giving knowledge or whatever. I don't think that's what it was supposed to be about. So for me, like, just taking that piece is just like people saying, oh, I only need the 10 commandments to get where I'm going. No. I mean, besides that, it's common sense. You can't just go out there and start knifing people. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think once you know the character of the Father, you don't necessarily need to always have a Bible. Or, like I said, there's been thousands of years before the Bible. You know, oh my goodness.
That's true.
My cat shat on the floor again, dude.
Yeah, like, because, you know, like, what did people do before the Bible was created? You know, like, how did they behave, and what did they rely on for their guidance, or, you know, I'm going to say law, but I don't believe they went by the law. I think that they had the Father gave us our I think it's our conscience, like our knowing right from wrong. It's a feeling. You get a feeling inside you that, you know, when you do something wrong, like I know if I do something wrong, I feel horrible, you know, and always want to correct myself. And that's the way I've been my whole life. I haven't been perfect, but I can certainly tell you that I hurt whenever I did do something wrong, you know, but I think that's the only law we need is the knowing good and evil, and doing what Jesus said, love your neighbor. So what it's something that you would want done to you, or you wouldn't want done to you, then you wouldn't do to someone else.
You hit that perfectly. What that guy was doing was justifying Yahweh. What they do is they have their their idea of right and wrong skewed, and now they're
Yeah.
backing up Yahweh and defending him because they
They're
don't have the
justifying
original.
their, yeah.
Yeah, but right and wrong already existed. That's why Cain got in trouble for killing Abel. You know, before anyone gave any laws out, Cain knew he was wrong before he even approached Yahweh. You know, but dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm distracted. I'm cleaning up poop now, so.
Don't you love cats and dogs?
Oh, I'm
Hey,
telling you, I'm
my
gonna
cat
put her
doesn't
in
do
the full
that.
Nelson.
Yeah.
It's just my little one. It's like she don't get it. She just, oh, litter box, all right, and then poop right next to it on the floor or something. Like, geez.
Oh, we should have
Maybe
like the
I'll try
litter,
to
I
cover
bet
that another time. We've already been on, I think, over 3 hours. So
Yeah.
I'm probably going to call it here if everybody's okay with that because I'm tired.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hadn't decided what we'll do for the next one, but let's see, today's Friday. We'll be back on Sunday then at 7.
Sounds good. Sounds
Okie
good.
dokie.
Everybody have a good night.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Love everybody. Thank you for all
Love
for
you
coming.
guys too. Yeah. Take care,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
night.
Night.